Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open Finals. I'm your host, Paul, and Todd Kill here for more mobile esports action. We just wrapped up Asphalt 9 Legends, crowned ourselves some champions there. We still got some more of that to do, this time with PUBG Mobile. Teams have been battling it out over the last 4 weeks. Teams have made it here to this point, but only one can walk away our champion. The stakes are just that much higher, which means I need a little bit of assistance to get things done. The one and only Daniel Degon Gonzalez is here, and it's been too long since I've got to say that, and too long since I've seen the camo shirt.
I know! We're back! Back for some more PUBG
Yes.
Mobile action. The fantastic duo can only be completed with the trio, right? Like, I feel like, you know, we've done this for a while, but now we know that it is better with three. So who else could be our third here, Paul?
Cameron Davis is standing by. Yes. Yes, hold it. And good.
There it is. Great.
All right, there
Fantastic.
it is. There it is. Back again. Oh,
I have a
look
small
at that.
frame, but I'm making it work.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely owning it. Look, we just saw Asphalt wrap up. We saw some incredible races. It was down to the wire. That set the pace, and it was blisteringly fast. Things are going to slow down a little bit for PUBG Mobile, but I expect the tactics to still be strong, and players are still going to need to be hitting their shots, because this is one game of many in our program. Things have only gotten bigger and better this season, spreading out across the globe, across multiple games. Let's actually take a look at this video. Breaks it all down.
Welcome to ESL Mobile, the home of mobile esports. ESL Mobile is a global program designed to give you an opportunity to compete in your favorite mobile games, featuring multiple game titles, taking place in 3 regions and offering 2 levels of competition. There's something here for everyone. ESL Mobile Open is the gateway to competitive play, free to join and open to any resident of our supported regions. This is the best way for you to enjoy the thrill of victory and take your shot at winning cash prizes. Each season of Mobile Open will consist of 2 ladders, and the top competitors from each will qualify for the Mobile Open play-ins. ESL Mobile Challenge is your path to glory. If you are a top competitor in the Mobile Open play-ins, you will earn a spot in the Mobile Challenge season. The top team from each ladder will skip the play-ins and qualify directly for the Mobile Challenge season. This is where you'll have the chance to compete against the best players in your region. At the end of each season, top Mobile Challenge players will compete in the Mobile Challenge Finals to determine a winner and be crowned their region's champion. ESL Mobile is for everyone. This is your opportunity to join a diverse and growing community of players across the world and see just how far you can go.
Back, bigger, better than ever. Again, 3 regions, tons of different mobile titles. It's a lot of exciting stuff happening here for the ESL mobile program. But while some things are changing, some things stay the same. And PUBG Mobile, with us since day one. Degon, we talk about it, but let's be honest. A lot of the players, and especially as we take a look towards our leaderboard, a lot of the players who got their start in competitive PUBG Mobile got their start here.
Yeah, a lot of them did and moved on over to PMPL as well as World League. And when we got the surveys back from a lot of these teams, the players said, hey, we have played in the Mobile Open before, but here's our first opportunity at a finals on the big stage with the lights on to prove something. And so when you take a look at some of these teams, might not sound familiar other than up at the top as expected. Cool2BGBG, one of the representatives over at PMPL Americas. Up top, they've revamped their roster, found some of the best talent that North America has to offer, and find themselves on top of Vanguard Gaming, AST, Moonlight, CN, and Sleeping Force in our top 5.
Yeah, I do want to reiterate how there are a bunch of new names that we're going to be seeing this evening in this competition, which can be a little weird at the start because you don't exactly know what to expect from them. But that does mean that I'm expecting some really exciting plays. Don't know who they're going to come from, but I'm sure it's going to happen. And waiting to see if anyone can really challenge Cole2's position at the top of the leaderboard, because 917 points is quite a bit.
Yeah,
it's a good feat.
It's definitely a lot. Again, just the fact that every time we hop into a Mobile Open, it's an opportunity for these players to begin their legacy. And we're at the precipice here of who will be holding the pen as they write their names into the books of history. I'm super excited, Paul.
When you say it like that, so am I. Yes, absolutely. No, and what's interesting here is, again, there might be some team names that you recognize, but a lot of the players, a lot of these rosters have shaken up from past iterations. So, again, making some slight shifts, and still, It all comes down to this new generations of players, like you said, to put their mark in here. And of course, if you want to get involved, if you want to be up here on this stage getting casted by us, make sure you sign up. Exclamation point sign up in the chat, because the next ladder number 2 for this season is going live right now. You can sign up, you can play, you can compete. So if you are a competitive player looking to get into competitive PUBG Mobile, this is the best place to do it. Everyone can join, open to all skill levels, and that's the way you get better. That's how you push yourself to the top. I'm getting word, though, the players are ready to drop, which means we need to head to a short break. When we come back, match number 1. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open. It's the Ladder 1 Finals, Game 1. We're heading on over to Erangel to kick things off. Best of 5, and every match matters. We've got ourselves a lobby full of players ready to prove themselves and showcase their skill set and impress those orgs that might possibly want to bring them to the next level, Cammy.
Yeah, and I do think we need to sort of address the elephant in the room. Because of conflicts with other events, we only have 12 teams, but I think the teams involved here are going to appreciate that, because this playing path is absolutely garbage. And the fact that there are 4 fewer teams to contest with the significantly fewer accessible drop positions is not a bad trade-off, I think.
Yeah, well, maybe you can go as far as school Pachinki in the air without dropping on a vehicle and driving across if you wanted to go Gatka, if you're a hospital player, any of the Georgies. Not going to be fun for that, because you just have a mad dash for vehicles to get on out there. Interesting to see where people's secondary and tertiary drops are going to be ending up at without knowing this lobby fully, Kimmy.
Yeah, there's still a really big collection of parachuters going towards that Pachinki area, as you mentioned. I'm seeing some towards Yasnaya. We have a Kameshki team. Only 2 teams going to be dropping on a military base. In this circle, I actually don't mind this, all things considered. The Kameshki team is the one that is going to be the most out of it, which of course is going to be VG. We're looking at them right now. But they also, while they have to drive the furthest to get to the circle, they also drop the earliest. So in a way, the time sort of makes up for itself.
Yeah, it does. So Circle shifting away. Vanguard Gaming more than happy to take that northern area, as you said. Millie Base going to be in, but most of the landmass heading on over to the major part of the island here on Erangel. And, you know, I kind of want to dive into the fact that with only 12 teams in here, how does that affect gameplay, Cami? Because you'd assume that with less people, you have more space, more time to loot on up, but that's not always the case.
Generally, the more space is absolutely apt, but the more time to loot up, I don't know if I would take that bait, if I would take that trap, because that only means that you have a better shot. With fewer teams, only means you have a better shot of finding those super key areas, even in Circle 1. Ooh. There is a fight going down in Pachinki, which is strange, as we talked about fewer teams, but of course the plane path, yada yada. I don't know if SF are going to want to go aggressive on this. They're very much on the exit position of Pachinki, but it's all on to PSF. Which is, of course, is passion fruit. If they want to go aggressive, if they want to try and get a complete choke, complete hold onto SF at the start of things.
Yeah, that seems to be the only 2 teams near each other right now, as they are positioning and gathering intel. Everyone else seems to be relatively spread on out. You have a couple teams outside of Pachinki near Farm, but other than that, this is where most of our early game action is going to be at. Everyone else will be playing a rotation in. You have about 2/3 of the teams inside the circle as well. And just taking a peek, everyone taking a little bit slower now. Passion Fruit, obviously one of the squads over at PMPL Americas this season. Looking to try to refine their game in a lobby where I guess conditions will be a little different as well. Exotic taking a quick peek there. But nothing doing. Just a couple warning shots here. As Exotic, pretty lucky. He has a level 3 vest, but a level 1 helmet.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him proning down there using the third-person camera to check over that window for the longest time. I guess he got comfortable with his loot. He said, I'll hold point. I'll make sure they're not sneak up on us. But you can see on the left side, it's Bizles. He's been actually rotating around, and I do think that Sleeping Forest are actually trying to find a position to go aggressive. And this is, to your point, one of the upsides of having fewer teams. There's less chance of getting a third party, which means that we might see some tactical engagements if teams find the opportunities, if they're, of course, not going to be giving up their own positioning. And right now, these guys, they really want to fight over Pachinki. This is not just a fight for position in the circle, but for this loot drop for the remainder Erangel games.
Yeah, I mean, you called it there. Sleeping Forest want to get aggressive. They're able to get an initial knock on Passion Fruit, and now both teams trying to figure out what's the next step, because it's so early on. They know they've got a little bit of time here, but they don't want to dilly-dally as it gets traded back. Allen now knocked, so 1 for 1 so far. No one dead, but two crawling teammates right now.
It's just a lot of rotations, a lot of moving through the different buildings, which can make it incredibly hard to track your opponents, whether you're trying to go aggressive or you're trying to be defensive on an aggressive team. You have to have your comms on point, and that grenade, don't worry, we'll forget about that one. Second time does go out, does land where it needs to go. Jay has been bleeding out for quite a while. Still doesn't have a teammate on him, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got revived or... Yeah, he got revived, so he's up. He's on low HP. He's up. Okay. Yeah. So now it's all about the save mission here for Allen, as Allen is the one still knocked here for Sleeping Forest. But Exotic has a pretty nifty angle compared to the rest of his teammates, as Sleepless also trying to throw some nades in where the smokes are. Doesn't know where Allen is, and Allen seems to be crawling away from where the team is. I don't know if Allen's going to be able to get picked up here.
Sleepless trying to find a little bit of an angle through the roof of the attic. A tight corner, but it could be a useful one, but the information isn't there for him, so he's going to go and find a different window. Angle held. The bleed out still happening. I don't think Allen's getting picked up, unfortunately, at this point. The pressure from Passion Fruit has been too much. And actually, that's a second knock, is it? Or maybe it's just a lot of damage there.
Yeah, that was the finish. No knock yet here as Qin is able to heal on up. But that's the first death, first kill of the Mobile Open here in ladder number 1. Again, for all of you in the chat that think, hey, I could do this. I got the skill set. Exclamation point, sign up for your opportunity to play in ladder number 2 later on in this spring season. As again, Sleeping Forest, they got to hold their position here in Pachinki. Don't worry, you haven't missed too much elsewhere on the map. Everyone kind of rotating as Exotic able to land the shots there and gets another knock here on Sleeping Forest. And Sleeping Forest now becoming a couple of fallen trees in the forest.
Yeah, I mean, remember, Sleeping Forest was the team that wanted to go aggressive onto this. At this point, it's all to Q, and I think the rest of his teammates have either been taken out or very, very low on HP. This grenade is getting primed. He has a good angle if he wants to take it, but I think he's just not comfortable going aggressive just yet. He puts the grenade back in his pocket and just readies the Vector hiding in the corner, waiting to go for, I guess, just a rat play.
Yeah, I think the call might be, hey, look, we're losing these. If I give my position away, it won't be great. And there it is. Qin able to pick up an initial knock there. So decided not to throw the nade. Worked out for him as Vectors at close range tear through opponents.
Oh, yeah.
And so now Exotic, he has an idea where it's at now. The nade did come on through. A nice little rotation away as they stay alive. And now Jay gets the jump onto Qin. That's now the only person that got a knock there for Sleeping Forest getting knocked himself. Only one member still left alive here for Sleeping Forest.
And that last remaining member has already made his way towards the field, towards the exit. And on the flip side of things, Passion Fruit going to stay 4 up. They had a couple of players on their side get knocked, which means that the bleed out time is, of course, going to be just that much longer going further in this game. But in an engagement in what was essentially a hot drop, 2 teams in the same city, to survive with 4, I mean, it doesn't matter that their loot rotation has been slowed down, that their main positioning rotation has been slowed down. They'll take that. Look, that's 3 points already.
Yeah, again, Passion Fruit, one of the teams that has played over in PMPL. So you've got the pedigree there. You'd expect them to be able to take that type of a fight. Not sure how often in PMPL they were able to drop over to Pachinki, but as the kings of this lobby, more than happy to take the fight there, get themselves 3 early points in a shortened lobby with only 12 teams in it.
Over here, swapping to a completely different team as well as we look at the map for the overall circle. Circle 2 did shift, and there is still a fair bit of water in the military circle in phase 2. That's straight, still cutting in between. It's still heavily the mainland of Erangel, but this might start to put a little thought in some players' minds of like, what if it does shift towards the southeast? What if it does go heavy military? And so the teams that are already prepped around the bridges, like AST especially, I think are going to be in really, really solid positions.
Oh, and here we go. Passion Fruit out of the frying pan into the fryer, taking on yet another fight here with Jay. Just some early pot shots outside of Pachinki and decides, yeah, you know what, we'll rotate and we don't have to play in the city. We have vehicles. We've already won a fight. Let's go ahead and continue to mop up these points as we can. So Passion Fruit against Nameless. Passion Fruit still all 4 members up. Nameless, this is their first fight of the day.
Let's hope that they were able to out-loot Passion Fruit. Angles at the ready, and I think they might have just gotten a quick spot. Both squads still hectically moving around. It's going to be a defensive smoke that comes out. It blocks the line of sight from Nameless. But still, there's not a lot of cover for Passion Fruit to be playing behind. So you can see Zeno just running around with the rest of his squad trying to find the angles and really figure out what Passion Fruit's game plan is. It doesn't look like Nameless really want to go aggressive from this position.
I don't think they would want to right now either, but there goes one. The big wraparound by Passion Fruit. They're just using the hills, like you said, not a lot of trees, but the angles that they have lining up perfectly. There's 1 kill already for Passion Fruit. They have not dropped anyone yet. A little bit of damage on one of their players. Here comes the pop out. Not quite going to work out. The Vector cleaning things up. And so Passion Fruit just knocking off Nameless. And Zeno, he did the running earlier, now forced to do even more running.
Is this the name of the game for Passion Fruit? You always leave one alive to tell the tales of your absolute domination of the server?
I don't know. It
That's like
doesn't
what
look Jay
the
wants to leave
Vikings
him
did
alive
or
right
something.
now. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
maybe not.
Jay, he's searching around. He's going to have to check every little bush, every piece of foliage here because he knows that Xeno might be somewhere. Just getting a little spray into a couple bushes.
If they do overcommit onto this 1 point, Xeno could grab one, if he's lucky or just has really good spray, 2 kills if they're not looking in the right direction. So I'm kind of worried Passion Fruit might be taking these 1 engagements a little too confidently and might forget that, I mean, there are still guns on the opposing side. I'm waiting for Xeno to pop out and maybe get 1 or 2 if they come too close to that rock.
Yeah, well, you know, not a lot of health healing here on the side of Passion Fruit. So I kind of don't mind if they're like, hey, look, these guys definitely had way more time than we had to loot. If we could kill them and loot their bodies, maybe we'll be able to find some good stuff.
True.
But it doesn't look like they'll venture to the right rock here, as Xeno has to not only use the third person to watch where all of Passion Fruit is, but has every now and then checked behind his back. Oh, Exotic uses the vehicle to zip around, doesn't quite get a full visual on anybody. And the circle still split.
Yeah. That's gross. That's terrible. We had a terrible plane. We're having terrible circles. Welcome to Ladder 1 Finals, everyone. Game 1 Erangels. It's a trope across all versions of PUBG at this point, I believe, where it's just chaos. It is nonsense. It's insanity. I have no clue how the best strategic minds are going to work out how to play in a circle like this. It's just hit your shots. That's all I got.
Yeah. That great advice there from one Cam ET there. Just hit your shots. We're the only team that hasn't crossed yet is Moonlight CN. They're deciding still to just hold the bridge and stay on the military base side. They're going to be our swimmers if it does head on over to the north side of Erangel. As they drive by, oh, no one saw him. Oh, they do a quick back. I think Exotic might have seen him there. Yep, they see him. Oh, Xeno, he's in a lot of trouble. And Xeno takes a shot, able to knock 1 here, but the vehicle coming on through.
He gets a second. Oh, my God.
Xeno's still alive with 1 HP. He gets the 3rd, and now all of Passion Fruit getting taken down. Exotic needs to get in there and make the play happen. Otherwise, Passion Fruit will be bruised from this little play here by Xeno.
Oh, they're already bruised. The question is, are they going to be totally eaten or not?
Oh, no!
What? Who is this? Stop it. Get out of here.
Oh, he got third-partied. Poor Xeno. And I bet he's not going to get any of these points either. Multiple players from Train to Kill just coming on through, clearing things out, I believe. Or was that Third Eye? It was Third Eye.
Still, nonetheless, this sort of proves my point, though, what I was saying earlier about Passion Fruit and not being over-aggressive. You'd think that rock would be... Xeno got 1 spray down. You can't necessarily fault Passion Fruit for that first one. But then they pulled up in the way that they did. You'd think in 2 individuals and 1 car they would be able to take that fight against Xeno easily, but the way that they popped out, the way that they took those angles is a little sloppy, a little disconnected, and I don't want to fault them too much because that was a sudden appearance of someone, a ghost who they thought was long gone, but it's those small things that can punish you. They don't punish you all the time, but in games like this, they can punish you.
Well, still a heroic-like play from the young man from New York. Xeno making sure that last stand, he wasn't going to tell the tale to anyone else. He was making Passion Fruit tell the tale.
It's true. Now they're the ones with the 1 remaining. At this point, it's going to be an entire game of disaster telephone, I guess. Where's the next circle going to go? It's got to shift hard north. It has to. I can't see this going down south. And technically it's north, I guess.
River.
Oh my God, yeah,
it's a lot of river, the cliffs. And does that include the space that you can climb up here? I don't think it does. Moonlight are gonna have to go, and they're gonna have to go very soon. And Train to Kill, you could see them also in the southeast. They're gonna have to get across somehow.
I guess you could go out into the blue. I think the blue might do too much damage at this point for it to be worthwhile, but you're not going to be out there for too long. The big problem is Ast could, if they see the rotation from Moonlight, they could try and just gatekeep, but I think they're going to be too engaged here. But look at the northeast. Everyone's sending it into these trees. You can barely call this a forest. There's not a lot of hard cover.
There's nothing here. Gamma for Cool2 BG able to land the shots there, so able to knock one. Has to watch their back because, as you said, there's really not a lot to hide around here. As now AST also getting aggressive and getting knocked early as Cool2 BG secure their first kill of the Ladder 1 finals.
Down to 11 teams. I think that's going to get cut off quite quickly, because Cold2, you can see their position and they're not super confident with it. I like how they're being aggressive though, they're being proactive, they're trying to spread out. The problem is GCS's position here is quite strong. There's no one on the opposite side of the river on Military Island who should be shooting them in the back, because anyone who's on Military, well, they're not going to want to stay there for much longer. There's no reason to stay around, so they can just continue to peek over this angle and have these shots onto Cold2. We do see a couple of teams from the Dirty Dozen, maybe over towards gas station, that could find some angles, but just constantly crouch, uncrouch, work those squats, work those legs.
Yeah, F2K Gaming in a tough spot on the cliffs. They do have the hard cover, and they don't necessarily have to worry about anyone shooting them in the back the same way that Cool2 BG does. As there is one team currently behind Cool2 BG, so they have to have at least one person just anchoring and watching the back. And right now, just everyone just holding still. No surefire cover, but it's better than trying to move in the open. And that's why we don't see a lot of movement quite yet.
It's all about landing the shots, waiting for someone to peek onto you, and then try and have that opening. But even then, if you aren't able to finish that kill, one knock isn't going to really open you up that much of an ability to just send it into the other team's position, just because this whole triangle third-party nonsense that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and
I don't blame Cold2 for just waiting to see where the circle goes once it closes.
It just feels like it's a long time away before it's going to close, and at any moment, the team behind him could just decide to hop on in. The team behind him is just for fun, as they are hanging out. They do have a little bit of compound, and in the meantime that we've been watching this battle here on the cliffs, Sleeping Forest has been laid to rest. I believe it was Third Eye that picked up that kill, so Third Eye poaching a couple points earlier and then knocking out the team that was not finished off by Passion Fruit, as Passion Fruit still surviving with Exotic leading the way. Circle moving on in. Where's it gonna go, Cammy?
Honestly, I'm done guessing. It's still, of course, it's a hardship quest, still split, still half and half. So Ass position is still really, really good. They are sharing this with VG, with Vanguard Gaming, so it's not going to be the most comfortable position. But if they have a bit of a truce of sorts and they just shoot everyone else around them, it's going to be hard for me to find an angle for any other team to get in. We do see Moonlight having crossed the river. So this hardship does help their run just a little bit, but I don't know how much cover they're going to have to push in much further.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see if they know that Train to Kill is behind them as well. So Train to Kill are going to be making the same rotation on up. If Moonlight do have an idea, this is just going to be not a great experience for Train to Kill there in the southern part of the map. Lots of gunfire happening right now. From distance, I believe it's over at the cliffs with the F2K guys that we saw them earlier, as well as version 2 kind of protecting their own side. So there it is, version 2 trying to take a peek here. Not quite able to land things up as Cool2 BG get themselves out in the kill feed right now. Third Eye battling with Just for Fun, and Just for Fun getting decimated by the green team you see on V2's map right now. They're kind of in the distance.
Version 2 actually have a really strong position to deal mass amounts of damage to everyone else coming in from the east side. They're not in an amazing position in the circle, but they're still in the circle. They can just bunny hop one or two of those little compound positions on the map, but at the moment they're just gatekeeping. They're not letting anyone push in. Cool2 is going to be dead to rights, essentially. F2K, they're going to be incredibly uncomfortable if they don't stick to the ridgeline overlooking the water.
It looks like Jay getting some smoke down, realizes lots of smoke in there, and that's our Moonlight CN team that has just been quietly rotating out of military base, all huddled up into a big massive smoke grenades for cover. And Exotic, he's just chilling. He's a hut gamer.
I mean, after all that he's seen, after all that he's been through, he doesn't have anything to prove other than just surviving, trying to get as many points as he can. Finds an angle, though, on the Colt 2, who have already been quite wounded. Finds a knock. Can he follow up anymore? Can he at least secure the kill? Because Colt 2 are going to be eyeing his position.
Oh, hanging out. Colt 2 throwing out a couple more smokes to see if they can get Rulo up, but I think that should be fine. Gamma is going to be able to use the building as well for cover, as Manzano and the F2K guys that were stuck on the cliff, they go out to the zone. Not great position there early on. Exotic now forced to hide. He's a bush gamer. Will he be able to heal up? No heals for Exotic either, so he's just forced to play on this 1 bullet worth HP. The teammate dies in the middle of the revive. Oh, and it's from distance. It's Jay. He was looking earlier for the shots for AST, able to line him up and pick up 2 points there on Cool 2 BG.
I said Exotic didn't have much to prove, but he disagrees. He's been taking shots as a solo player on so many different squads, potentially putting himself in a lot of trouble, but he hasn't been particularly punished for it just yet, just because those squads that he's been fighting, Cold 2, another team on the west, well, now the north of the circle, don't have super strong positions themselves. They're having to battle multiple angles, and so really, he's just one extra annoyance trying to overlook them.
Yeah, just for fun, just now knocked out in 9th position. I believe that was picked up by Moonlight CN. And you can see on the mini-map there, the circle has gotten off of a lot of the river, but not a lot of cover, as you said. So the teams that have moved early, got into these set of houses, these compounds, they're the ones that are going to benefit the most. That's version 2, and that's AST. You can see Vanguard as well trying to work their way on in as M11. Just trying to figure out where these shots are coming from, has moved outside the house to get the information for the rest of the team.
So many players all stacked in on the same angle and the same position. The fact that we still have 8 teams up is insane. Moonlight's in the middle of a fight. They're trying to take a bunch of shots towards a different squad. Car goes up, car goes boom. But Third Eye still have 4 alive. Nothing's been totally confirmed yet.
I cannot believe no one's died yet from Third Eye. That vehicle blown up, though, at least gives you some hard cover.
Yes.
Jonas, again, just using the dinner plate, the DP, just lighting him up, and not feeling great if you're a Third Eye player. I believe all of them are outside the zone right now, which is still in the process of moving on in. And you can see right there on the right side of your screen, Harsh is just like, yeah, these conditions, they're my name. Not so good.
they harsh. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And look, they have to push up a hill. They have that little bit of cover now that you mentioned with the blown up vehicle.
Oh.
Harsh gets there, but takes a lot of damage. Gonna have to use another first aid kit. But then how do they even go that next level, the next step up the hill? And then if they do so, they might break line of sight from Moonlight, but they're only gonna open it up to another squad. They need to start fighting back. They need to start taking the shots, but they just haven't been able to get in the position to do so confidently.
Yeah. That was one hell of a sprint there by Harsh. Like trying to throw the smokes to get themselves across, and you know, you got to wonder how much utility they have left. They might have to just do a mad dash in the open, and they already know there's someone that's got a beam on them. Does look like Me Faker now starting to move on across, though, as Jonas initially has the long distance shots. Yeah, Jonas landing right there onto Jas, because Jas had to make the run with no smoke. Jas makes it to the smoke, and there's a little bit of a rock, a ledge there for him, but yeah, I don't know if the rest of the team are going to want to make that run, as Harsh trying to get the information where the rest of the team is at.
Yeah, you'd hope that Harsh and Co. would have a little extra covering fire available, but the angle is just not working out for them. There was a tree sort of right in the way, and I think that actually might be blocking any sort of defensive angle that they would have from behind this bus, or
yeah, and
rather jeep or whatever. It's a burning hunk of metal, okay?
Yeah, the burning hunk of metal that is indestructible in the zone. You can see it right there. It's moving on in. They got to make the run. They're starting to go. And Exotic, who's been hiding the whole time, has to bide his time. The sneaky snake in the grass, trying to see if he can stay incognito, and has done so. I don't know if he's inside the zone, so he's going to have a little bit more work to do every little step. It makes a little bit of noise, but everyone else is so focused. Oh, if you're Exotic, you're like, oh, what a dream. If I had another teammate, wasn't so worried about points. They're all so busy. And look, DeBilly doesn't even know what is happening yet. Oh my gosh, Exotic. He's made it to another shade of rushery. So
at some point, he has to actually use this position, though. I don't know if he has any grenades, because that would be explosive. Get it? Lowest common denominator pun available.
Oh, this is all lined up.
But if you get the lineup, oh my god, he spots the fourth!
Okay, he stopped. What is he seeing right now? All the firing right now. AST and version 2 are taking each other out. This is such a good line, though. But so many players are dying into the lobby. We only have 5 teams left. It's like, oh god, I can't. Man, and like, they have no idea. Third Eye is so focused right now on Moonlight. Oh, Exotic, please do it. Please do it, man.
Because the most anticlimactic thing is when a player's in this position and then Third Eye just looks to the left, looks a little extra hard, and then he gets taken out. What a waste of a run for Exotic.
I just don't see them checking it. Oh my gosh, Jazz. I just don't see them checking it. Why would they check it? The blue is already there. The blue's been their friend. Exotic has to go.
There he goes.
He gets 1. He gets 2. Will he get the 3rd? He gets 3. Will he stay inside? Oh no, he does get finished off by Jazz. And everyone from Third Eye are kicking themselves as they get cleaned on up. You can see there in the top left hand of your screen. 14 alive, 3 teams left. Oh, 3 teams left because it looks like the Vanguard Gaming gets taken out, yeah. So you got a ton of people knocked that are still counted as alive right now, Cammy.
Can Jazz get the rest of Third Eye Open alive? Oh, grenade doesn't take MM11 down. Version 2 are still standing, still with a really strong position. They've been holding on to these compounds for quite a while.
Oh, but look at that. You can see it. The Molly burning down one of the Alu BB getting taken down for version 2. And it looks like the team that initially started over at Military Base is going to get it done. They have the numbers advantage. They're starting to pick off members of version 2. But can Jazz be the person that wrecks the party and do exactly what was done to his team by Exotic? No, he cannot. Gets spotted out by Ander. And so all the storytelling goes to waste. Faker getting down multiple members. It's just Ander still left alive. Faker going on the run. Low health bars. Ander picks it up, but no, gets finished off. And it's Moonlight CN that take the first game here in our Mobile Open Ladder 1 Finals, Cammy.
Wait. Weren't Moonlight the team that were on Military Base until like phase 4, phase 5? Yeah. Listen, we know it's because the hardships went towards the west and it made their run just a little bit easier. Version 2 also had a really good game holding down their position, actually defending it, not just from teams coming from the outside, but even from inside the house where AST had joined them. And AST went out, I think, quite early, maybe like halfway through the round, just getting picked apart piece by piece. But still, from Moonlight to be able to jump from position to position to position to actually get the win and to take it to version 2 and secure the win, that was a really good run from them.
It was a great run. They get themselves, I believe, 10 kills. 10 kills and the chicken dinner from Moonlight CN. And also, that was just an ugly game of PUBG Mobile. And I'm glad that at least someone had to win it. But don't worry, we've got ourselves 4 more games here in the Mobile Open Ladder 1 Finals. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open Finals. I'm Verum, joined by Degon and Cameron Davis. And game one, what? Between the plane path and the circles, then Exotic, take the shot. Take the shot. I was just sitting here like just, okay, I can't, okay. Highlights. Cameron takes some highlights.
There's going to be a lot of them just because of how chaotic this game was. But this is a quick refresher, quick reminder. Passion Fruit versus SF from the very beginning. Passion Fruit really just making a whole meal out of it.
Yeah. Unfortunate for SF just running straight into it. And again, I'm normally a huge fan of proactive play, but when you're running into a team that's guns are on fire, that makes it very difficult. And then Zeno, again, proactive play after running away and buying time, saying, hey, you know what? Let's just pick off a couple of these guys. Ended up picking off a ton of the guys and unfortunately gets third partied. And you think after he heals up, it's like, oh man, he's actually going to do it. And then third eyes Jazz from distance ruining everything.
Got it. Just makes me feel bad. That was Zeno's moment and they took it away from them. Hey, what can you do? It's Battle Royale, right? But then here is the rest. This part is when we knew this game was going to go all topsy-turvy all over the place. But Exotic kept fighting as a solo player, kept fighting until, of course, later on that we'll see that he just stops fighting. I think to a little bit of our disappointment. But you know what? As a solo player in a Battle Royale, there is no perfect way to play it. So we want to refrain just a little bit.
And you can see the nades coming on in. Vehicle going a little wonky there. Version 2 getting their members chunked out slowly. And that's the nade that Debility threw in earlier. And version 2 cleared out AST that had this compound for the longest time. And it was proactive plays like that that got them into the second place position. Here it is, the moment.
Yeah. And I do think without Exotic just stabbing them in the back, that third eye could have had a real opportunity to win this game. We saw the grenade damage earlier on they did onto version 2, but nonetheless version 2 still weren't able to take control of this compound. Moonlight coming in from the western side, picking up 10 kills while doing it despite when a hard shift goes in a team's direction as many times as it did for Moonlight, you'd think that they would get the win with maybe like 3, 4, 5 kills. They got 10, they got double digits. They cleaned up.
And it wasn't even just at the end. They did a good job holding off. I believe it was Train to Kill. They also were on the southern island, had to rotate on in, so they were able to win a fight there, heal back up, got initial knocks onto third eye, then worked their way on into a position where they had like rock coverage to shoot down other teams coming on into the zone. So well played by Moonlight CN.
I got to jump in here, lads, because I have to agree. I mean, 10 kill chicken dinner. I mean, that's pretty darn solid there at the start. But again, a lot of solid squads, a lot of teams to look at. Third Eye definitely being one of them, making a push up there towards the end. And again, what's so cool about this, and we talked about this at the start of the show, is that there's so many names and faces that we're not familiar with Degon. This is really an opportunity for them to start to write their legacy.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think Jas there with 5 kills, all to his name alone, I think really put Third Eye in a great spot as they move on through our ladder finals. But another team that did that, Exotic. Like, Exotic really led the way there. I think Adresta did it early on in Pachinki, but then after that, to get as many points as they did after botching the 1v4 is hard, is a sign of resilience that is necessary to be an elite player in PUBG and PUBG Mobile, because things rarely go the way that you want them to go.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And what's interesting here, too, is Exotic is... So, Passion Fruit was a team that played in the PMPL, team that I got to cast a decent amount. Jay, one of the really stand-up players there. Exotic didn't play. Exotic was not one of those players competing on that roster. So, he's stepping up here in the Mobile Open for his squad. And that's something that I absolutely love to see. Because, again, you have Sleepless, you've got Jay, you've got these established veterans. They've played in really top-tier competition and done well for themselves, I should add. So now to come in here and have another member of this squad step up, that is just a gift that keeps on giving. But it's only game number 1 of the books. And Cam, you've casted a lot of PUBG, a lot of PUBG Mobile. You know how much the playing path and the circle can impact things. So as much as this is game number 1, I want to read into it a little bit. given how the start of this game went in those circles, we can't read into it too much.
It's incredibly chaotic, and how a team plays when it's like more of a normal game, you can't expect it to happen the exact same way. That's why I'm looking forward towards the next map on Miramar, which is a lot easier to be a standard game considering how big the landmass is. You can have unfortunate plane paths, but it's not going to be nearly as impactful, and then the circle, of course, only made it worse this time around. I want to see if Passion Fruit are going to continue to be as aggressive. I want to see if Third Eye are going to be as strong coming in from the edge, the hard edge that they did almost every single circle this time around. It's looking at the next game, I think, is going to tell us what this series is going to play out. How are these teams really approaching this series?
Yeah, for me, it's just for fun because I believe they were the team that had the backs of Cool 2 BGBG when it finally shifted away from the south. It was still half river. They rotated on in, and you and I hit on it, Cammy. Cool 2 BGBG were in an area in the woods where there weren't that many trees trying to look people off the cliffs, but then you've got a whole complex behind them. Just for fun, I think over-rotated into Third Eye, got clipped in their rotation by Third Eye instead of just taking the fight that was in front of them. And as much as they didn't have a ton of foliage to work with, neither did Cool 2. So just for fun, being put in a position to go aggressive, hopefully they take the aggressive option next time. The other team to look out for that, I think, just got tough positioning early on was F2K Gaming. They were the ones that Cool 2 was hunting on the cliffs. They're just stuck. Not a lot that you can do there. And that's why, as much as I want to count the games as like a throwaway because it was an ugly game, it was a tough playing path, you also want to be able to see who can adjust and put themselves in position when there's an ugly game, kind of like what Moonlight CN did to get themselves a chicken dinner.
And we all know when it comes to a lot of the maps in this game, especially when it comes to the terrain of a map, like, I don't know, say Miramar, if you're not in a good position, if you're not cognizant about your rotation and the next rotation, you're going to get punished for it every single time. We're going to do a short break. When we come back at game number 2, get into it. Don't go anywhere.
We're loaded up, the chutes are packed and ready to go for game number 2 here of the ESL Mobile Open Ladder 1 Finals. It was Moonlight CN that were able to out-rotate and outplay everyone else. Who will be able to catch him? Let's find out as we head on over to Miramar. Pretty standard plane path, everything playable here unless you're going to Campo Militar. But the strategy on a map as large as Miramar, hop down, get a vehicle, and make sure you're safe. I don't know how many teams are going to opt into early gunfights like we saw Sleeping Forest and Passion Fruit did at Pachinki, like in the last map.
I mean, this plane path is beautiful. This is
really happens.
One of the cleanest plane path that I've seen in quite a while. So what a stark contrast to the previous game. I just amped up Miramar as having one of the least likely chances of absolute destruction by the plane path alone compared to Erangel, and this just sort of doubles down onto that fact. This time around, hopefully the teams can all loot their own separate areas. Not going to be any hot dropping, as you mentioned, whether it's the center or anywhere on the outskirts. I am curious to see, though, if teams are going to use, again, this 12-team lobby as an opportunity to be more aggressive if the opportunity, if it calls for it. Because, I mean, I know third partying passion fruit. God, all these words together.
There we go.
Get jumbled
Numbers.
up. There we go. Don't worry, we got there in the end. Sort of contradicts this, but with fewer teams, that's fewer chances of someone coming in and spoiling all your action. So if you find an isolated team, go for the engagement. At least see if you can't get a knock or two and then fully commit. Whereas in other games with full 16 lobbies, 20-team lobbies, you would have to be incredibly safe and specific in where you take your engagements, especially in the early game.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like we have 2 teams around Los Leones. You got Train to Kill, which we didn't get to see too much of earlier, and Just for Fun also in that area. And then we had people congregating around Hacienda, but it does look like everyone has kind of peeled off into their own ways. Vehicles picked up by version 2. They're going to head on over to the north, and they know that no one else is ahead of them. So if they wanted to get Cruz de Valle, Torre de Amada, and Campo Militar, they could do all of those things safe and sound. And I expect us to have a long portion of looting, and if anything, flipped vehicles on the terrain.
Yeah. Just as you said, looking at where a bunch of these teams are all looting up, that might be the most action that we get in Circle 1. I was trying to look at that first initial circle and see where are the key positions, and there were about like 3 or 4 of them making sort of a square of high ground areas around what is essentially the center of that phase. So I don't think we're going to see multiple teams all vying for the exact same position. The teams are outside of the circle, especially the ones still on the rotate. They know they're going to have to come in late and probably stay closer towards the outskirts, maybe 10%, 20% of the radius inside from the edge.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a Circle 2 movement type thing. You want to loot up,
Yes.
You want to make sure that you get the area that you're around, but Circle 2 is going to be the one that truly forces the movement. Everyone else has the option and ability to just like plop down on a spot and hope that the circle shifts their way.
This is a bit of a concern, though. Joss from Third Eye running around with no vehicle. He's just running out in the open. Looks like they're just scavenge, looting a random open location. I am really worried about how this is going to affect their, not only the amount of loot that they're able to get before they have to go to the circle, but also how they're going to get into the circle in the first place. Vehicles, if you're not dropping on like where their spawns are, where you know they're supposed to be, it could be a real struggle hoping that there's one over the next hill. Okay, maybe there's one over the next hill. Maybe there's one over the next hill. We'll see how it plays out, but it's not a very good first look.
Yeah, well, Joss and the rest of the team are over in Al Azahar. They're nearby the zone, but not in the zone. Even that complex that Joss was in, not near the zone. And you do have a couple of members of Vanguard Gaming nearby as well, kind of gatekeeping them. So we'll keep an eye on that as the circle starts to move on in, as it's doing so right now. Very slowly, but surely that circle is coming on in. Oh.
Hello. Yeah.
Passion Fruit in early fights. Name better duo.
It's not just Jay. There's someone else here with him. There's a partner here with him. That's a double blot of purple in the center of that minimap. More vehicles coming up. Faker. And his last teammate moving around. So this is a lot of information that Passion Fruit is all gathering, and I don't think Moonlight are any of the wiser shots coming out. Not a lot of damage, if anything at all. So a missed opportunity for Passion Fruit. Moonlight getting away, not by the skin of their teeth necessarily, but almost like ships passing in the night, if we go with that analogy.
Yeah, one of us on this broadcast loves that analogy, and I love getting it wrong. Vanguard Gaming and Sleeping Force also near the area where those gunshots were. So if Moonlight over-rotate because Passion Fruit was hunting, and they're still hunting, obviously they're still chasing, they might run into the waiting arms of Sleeping Forest, which again, this is kind of funny. Everyone's starting to camp around Hacienda and San Martin and kind of just clump around this area straight center.
Oh no, flies. He shot too early.
Oh, Jay's
The
taking a
damage is
little bit of
trading.
damage. Yeah. And both teams deciding to back on off. He hears the vehicle, tries to get over the ridge, has a couple opportunities here, does Jay, but Jonas is just hanging around, making sure Flies is able to get himself safely, and he is able to pick himself off to a building.
Yeah, that could have been really, really bad for Passion Fruit. Fortunately, everything's okay. Everyone's been healed up. Shots straight back. Oh, a headshot or some sort of shot lands from somewhere. That's going to be Passion Fruit put down once again. Moonlight being very solid on this defensive hold. They knew that Passion Fruit were chasing them. And so while they don't really want this fight, they're doing what they can to make sure that they don't receive too much damage. God forbid, lose a player while they're trying to get into a solid position in the circle.
Yeah, again, this is dangerous. There's not a lot of other audio happening around the map right now, and now coming behind Passion Fruit is just for fun. Kind of the position we saw them have in game number 1 behind Cool 2 BGBG. And then to the north of all of this fighting, you got Sleeping Forest. You've got F2K Gaming. You've got Cool 2 BGBG. When the circle shows us, the map looks pretty condensed for how open it should be. But teams are listening to how Passion Fruit and Moonlight are playing this one out right now.
On the angles, a bit of defensive smokes. Faker realizing that he's in a spot of trouble and wants to try to find a way out. Passion Fruit are jumping into their vehicles. They might be going aggressive at least if the rocks allow them to do so. But
oh my gosh,
how'd they get inside the compound? Sleepless sneaking all in. Again, just following up step by step. Wherever Moonlight leave, Passion Fruit are backfilling.
I love this. I love this right now by Sleepless. The rest of Passion Fruit, though, needs to help him out and support. Sleepless did get a little catch of kindness there. His kindness does get dinked by Jay, I believe, from distance. And so Fly's still inside. Oh, you could see the barrel of his gun. And so now Sleepless also already being spotted. Just got naded a little bit there. But Fly's is separated from the rest of his team. The rest of his team is down below whatever this ridge is. And now Flies has to send it. He gets sent to his knees. He's crawling. He's crying. He's dead.
Yeah, I don't know if they intended to leave him behind as, I guess, a solo defensive position, or if he just missed the Uber ride, if he just missed the rideshare, the bus on its way through, because to make a jump like that, it makes me think that he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Because if he just stayed there and tried to defend against Passion Fruit, he could have dealt a fair bit of damage and maybe even got a kill or two if the rest of the team was in a nice position to follow up, or even just, I wouldn't recommend it, but even just sacrificing himself so the rest of his team can get a really, really solid position, that would be one thing. Fortunately, though, the circle does shift towards Hacienda, towards the east, which means that all this area these two teams have been fighting over is actually a really solid position. Hacienda is dead center. And I think a lot of those teams that you called out just a few moments ago, they just need to move a little bit more towards the east, but really not so much. There's only one or two teams that have to make a big rotation off this phase.
Oh, well, now we've got a couple of other teams near this Hacienda area. This is what I was talking about. Everyone's just kind of clumped up here. And so while it looks like all of F2K were trying to hunt down AST, Cool 2 BGBG says, thank you very much. We'll take the position here and we'll take the fight. AST has decided to back on off, so they will not probably be participating in this anytime soon, as now Cool 2 BGBG blowing up the bus, the groovy bus, and getting themselves a little bit of hard terrain, hard cover here for Jeraboy.
It's a commitment to this fight. Commitment to this position. And hopefully the rest of the team on the high ground can really make use of this solo position. It's not a bad spread for Colt2, but I think he's a little uncomfortable right now. You can see him popping those smokes, trying to get out, trying to make a little bit of a smoke tunnel for himself. And I think F2K, they're not going to be too comfortable peeking onto this position, just looking at where the rest of Colt2 are hiding out on. But Jerboy hasn't moved too much.
Yeah, just kind of peeking around the smokes right now. It looks like Jerboy does want to get on out, but can just feel, look, Manzano just right on over the edge. He's like, yeah, you know, if I sprint it, there's literally nowhere. Yeah, looking exactly where he saw Manzano in the third in the TPP camera. Oh, and he's gonna have to sprint it. This is exactly what he didn't want to have to do. Gets himself out safely. Zig and zag, the old adage there. Checking the area. Yep, Manzano's gone. He's safe. And it looks like Cool2 BGBG. They wanted to roll up, and then they decided better of it.
Yeah, they just weren't finding the angles. F2K wouldn't give them the opportunities for those initial knocks that you would want in Colt2's position or to really take this fight in a confident manner. So instead, bit of use of resources. They lost a vehicle as well as a number of smokes. So Jerboy does get out of the danger zone. Both these squads are still 4 up. But I don't think F2K are going to want to give up too much more of a position. They're still holding strong on the line of scrimmage that they have set up.
Zone moving on in right now. Again, everyone's just starting to center up here around Hacienda and the surrounding areas, especially the ones that have the height. You called it earlier. Feels like there's just this square of height around this center of the circle. And so F2K looking okay. Cool2 BGBG, they're in a fine spot as well. And Train to Kill starting to move on in behind them from the west as the zone. Hopefully it's a hard shift here because this one's been pretty nice. That very first game we had, it was ugly. Ugly circles, unplayable terrain, cliffs, no coverage. Here it's been, all right, hey, players in our lobby, we're sorry. We're going to give it to you nice and center. And this one is going to force a lot of fights. The teams that were on the eastern side of the map now get to pay dividends. And everyone else is going to come right on into Sleeping Forest, Passion Fruit, and AST.
Yeah, there's significantly less high ground here as well. So even the teams that are already set up aren't going to be as dominant. It's just the open fields. So I guess that's the one thing going for the teams that are already in the circle is that they're not relegated to trying to prone in the grass. I see Nameless trying to send it in towards the center from the south. You got Third Eye there on the eastern side, holding down strong. They're probably sitting the prettiest here. But yeah, all these rotations coming in from the western teams. It's going to be quite dirty and nasty.
Yeah, 3 teams about to send it to the same compound. As you said, Nameless, Passion Fruit, and Just for Fun. And we're going to follow along with Passion Fruit as they've already gotten opening 2 knocks here. And Just for Fun living up to their name right now in a bit of trouble as Exotic and the rest of the crew move on in.
A lot of shots. Smiley's bad, trying to defend his team's position. Passion Fruit, of course they're going to want to take this fight. A nice little grenade drops down, and oh, with a counter grenade is even better. Smiley gets knocked. Waymax here, how is he going to trade out? He has a grenade of his own. Opponent out in the open, though.
Yeah, Nade goes over, gives the opportunity to get on in to the compound. It's Exotic, I believe, the one that's close. Sleepless is already down. Sleepless has to defend his teammate. So the push coming on through very quickly. Using the Tommy. Will he be able to finish him off? Oh, they trade with the nade blowing on up. Still 2 members left alive on both these squads. And things starting to clean up. Nameless is just sitting way outside being like, what is happening inside this house? I don't want any of it. Smiley getting shot from distance. Forced on in. The nade could be the right one. Jay, I think, knows something's coming. Exotic gets up and they're able to get out. It's like an action movie. They stay alive as Just for Fun not able to capitalize on the knocked players.
Oh, these grenades from Just for Fun are just missing. But the shots they land. That's going to be a knock. That's going to be they going down on fire as well.
Roasted Passion Fruit delicious, but not so great if you are the passion fruit. Jay goes down. Now it's only 3 members still on up here for passion fruit against the 4 of Just for Fun until Hax gets knocked. Now Max gets knocked. Hax and Max. That rhymes, but right now they're both doing the time on their knees, waiting for their teammates to come pick them up. Smiley is bad, getting the heal on off, trying to throw down smokes to get coverage to Hax because this building, it all looks the same, but now it looks like Passion Fruit know where he's at. They clean him on up and only 1 member left alive. It's Trick, the only one still up here for Just for Fun. He gets taken down, and that's our first team out. Passion Fruit, they go aggressive, and they get themselves 4 points.
And you can just see the fighting prowess from Passion Fruit greatly outmatched Just for Fun. Just for Fun, when they tried to push into that room that they thought Passion Fruit were all bunkered down in, they went in one at a time when there were multiple crosshairs ready to snap onto any enemy coming into their position from Passion Fruit's side, and they just tore them apart. Player after player after player. They do lose Jay, but that's not a terrible sacrifice. Of course, when you look at this next hard shift, they can't even stay here for much.
I know. I felt like we had just shifted to the house and things are great. Now they got to start moving on again. Over here in the north, a little bit of a fight here between F2K and Trained to Kill. Trained to Kill getting a couple of knocks, as well as AST. AST losing a member, and it looks like it's just going to be a solo member sending it on into the circle. It's Jay, the one that was taken out earlier, is revived, as they'll be all right. And we follow along with Bilo, part of F2K, getting the revive on up on Manzano, but the vehicle might not be long for this world, I believe. Is it Cool 2? Cool 2 that have a line on it? No. It's version 2. Oh no, the vehicle explosion!
Oh no! I think that's right when you got the revive as well. So it was a double knock.
Yeah,
here swinging up. Yeah, this is the much better position to go to. That was an ambitious attempt at a revive behind a rock where there's a big open field between you and your main opposition. Not to mention Colt, you can see on this hill as well. So I think leaving that, you gotta leave that player to die. But at this point, it's just one player remaining. I don't know how to get out of this one.
I think you got to leave him, right? Because you've got version 2 bearing down on you. You got Cool 2 BGBG on the cliffs, and Naumcito boy has to decide what the play is. He already used the smokes, and I think now he's just going to pretend to be a vending machine and stay inside this gas station.
Yeah, we got a slushie machine in the corner. Hot dog machine's broke, sorry. What can I get for you? I'm an NPC, I swear.
All right, so
I mean, no one's going to be coming in onto this position, though, because it's so weak. Unless we see multiple hardships for this position, it's really just not going to be super valuable. Just picking up a couple of cans for himself.
Yeah.
Some energy drinks.
Well, it was working. It was in order. Then I made it out of order. We did see that there was a smoke grenade there. He took a very good look at it. Let's see if he's going to go for anything. Nah, he's just going to chill. And so version 2 pick up the kills off of the explosive car. And version 2 just sitting nice. They're like, yeah, you know what? We like this compound. We'll wait till the circle comes on in, which will be very soon. AST on the outside. Vanguard Gaming also on the outside to the north here. Zone about to pop in just a couple of seconds, and it'll let us know where we're going. Passion Fruit getting caught, and it's about time someone punishes Passion Fruit. It's been happening, and this is wide open, Cammy.
I was about to say, version 2, it doesn't matter where the circle shifts, they're going to be pretty happy. This is the one area that the circle could have landed on that no one is inside, not even version 2. And actually, it's going to be Third Eye on the eastern coast, not really coast, but the eastern edge that had the best position. The only people with high ground, everyone else is going to be fighting each other for the scraps that remained in the circle. There's going to be a couple of hay bales. There's going to be a lot of fighting while rotating, shoulder to shoulder with your enemy.
Yeah, I feel like the game is going to be like decided in this rotation once the circle forces teams in. It does look like AST are gearing up for a move on in, as one player, believe it was Jay, taken down. So it's just, I believe it's Chief and Zaya still left on up, with Vanguard Gaming gatekeeping them from the north, and it was version 2 that were taking shots from the south. Passion Fruit taking a peek on in here on Sleeping Forest, and Adrestria just having a bit of trouble on in. Gonna use the bandages, has a ton of them, and will
trying to find an
have to
opening.
use it.
Trying to find that opening, trying to find that knock to alleviate a little bit of pressure, but it wasn't coming their way, and so unfortunately, him and Exotic gonna have to just make a blind send towards the field, hope they don't get shot. Exotic had already be taken pretty low. I don't know if that was from an enemy or from the blue, but hey, they made it this far. This is actually not a bad start to this rotation, but they are going to have to push through a couple of different teams. Adrestria is trying to go to the high ground, gets a little bit of information, trying to gather that info to make the right decision moving forward.
Yeah, and that rotation worked by Passion Fruit because version 2 and Sleeping Forest and Nameless all just started fighting each other at the same time. Nameless sitting pretty, looking and feeling pretty good. Version 2 has found a little bit of space inside. Cool2 BGBG taking care of, I believe that was F2K Gaming. They're on out. And so Cool2 BGBG, 4 members inside the zone. Looking, feeling pretty good hiding behind these hay barrels, but they know they've got AST and Vanguard to the north.
Yeah, I like the spread that they have. It does mean that they're at risk of one of their solo players being bombed by an entire squad. But hopefully, I mean, their shots have been pretty good so far this series. And remember, they're the top leaderboard of the ladder to get to this point. Yeah, there it is. The first contender immediately taken out.
Yeah, it was AST trying to get on in there. I believe that was Chief in her last-ditch effort, trying to send it in the vehicle, getting blown on up. Not a lot of options when there weren't many spaces to go for them. In the meantime, Sleeping Forest also were taken out. They go out in 8th. I believe AST out in 7th.
Ooh.
But now Killer, the lone member in the north, able to pick off one member of Cool2 BGBG. So you could see all the arrows of Cool2 looking to north, trying to catch that one lone wolf. As Killer in the sights here for Jeraboy. Not a lot of places to go, but was able to pick up a point. And you said it earlier, Third Eye looked good on the eastern edge. Now they're going to have to come off of that terrain and work their way on in and get scrappy, just like everyone else is. As Jonas using the vehicle right next to him. It's on fire. Oh, it's broken. That's why I was like, oh, do they need to move?
Trying to find an angle. Going aggressive, wanting to take these fights. And so are, of course, version 2 still 4 up, 7 kills for them already. And they've been able to move from position to position to maintain a strong position in this round. And they're still in their circle, chilling out on the top of this ridge line. Ooh. So I think they could be able to take over this entire game. But Cool2, of course, more in the dirty field itself, trying to do the exact same.
Yeah, Not Walls just lasering a couple there, and now has a pretty good lock on to where the rest of Moonlight Sienna are. Jonas is one of those people in the crosshairs, now trying to prevent the rotation on in by Third Eye, and able to do so. A double collat in the collision there. Actually, everyone from Third Eye was in that vehicle, so Third Eye out in 5th place after looking good. Cool2 now trying to stop Moonlight from getting on in. They get one, but Faker has made it on through. Only bandages for Faker, though, so I believe it's going to be a lot of hiding for him as Kindness gets taken out. Jonas gets taken out, and there it is. Moonlight out in 4th place as Cool2 have hung around in this open area and held their own in all the angles.
Yeah, even with losing Gamma, they're able to move the rest of their team inside. That's another reason why a box spread is so powerful. Not only do you have multiple angles of attack as well as defense, you also have more positions that the circle could be more favorable towards, and you help your team come in piece by piece, one at a time. But version 2 are still able to be prone on top of this ridgeline. It's not much of high ground, but it's better than the opposition has.
Yeah, it's a 4v3v3 right now with version 2. As you said, just a little bit of a lift above the farmlands, above the crops. And that does give them an advantage. They are the ones that can decide to fight or not fight and just back on off. But with Nox being traded back and forth, Nameless able to pick up one. Cool2 getting the other. Incendiary now burning down Nameless. Nameless are going to have to move. What a rotation here by the version 2 squad. Kira Pro Trying his best to prevent Nameless from getting the flank off, and one by one, multiple members getting taken down. Yep, that's all of Nameless out. 2 members still alive for Cool2 BGBG, and they're not going to be able to punish the members that have been knocked so far. Jeroboy with the laser right between the eyes. What a shot there by the Cool2 BGBG, man.
That's what you call beamed. I mean, version 2, they're going to get the revive, and they still have the superior position by far. But if Cool2 can land shots like that, more so this game, they might stand a chance. The big problem is they have to cross an open road, no cover. I just hope that they have a bunch of smoke grenades in their backpacks to cover this entire map with shrouded vision.
Yeah, and that's why with Jeroboy, we're seeing him focus so hard on the right side. That's the side that is in the zone. The side on the left side, not so much in the zone. They will have to come up a little bit further, probably beyond the trees that they're hiding behind right now. They're just straight beaming kids right now.
But again, if they can't even finish the kill, or sorry, finish the knock, or if the knock does happen, if they can't confirm the kill, it's only taking them so far. It's really onto version 2 for giving Cool2 these opportunities to try and steal this game away from them. And I think even with these amazing shots being landed by Cool2, it's still a long shot, the actual win itself.
Oh, nice little flick here, and here it is. Last bandage.
Rulo tried to find a separate angle, but he got spotted on the cross, I think, and got punished for his peek. Jeroboy also gets taken down, so it's all Rulo. In fact, version 2, they're rushing ahead because they have things to do. They want to finish this round so we can get on to Sanhok.
Yep, and there it is, version 2. Winners in map number 2 of Ladder 1. You take a look at that, some quick maths, more than 10 kills. There it is, so version 2. And they won a lot of that in one of the initial rotations outside of Hacienda. A lot of teams came on into them. I believe that was Nameless. I believe that was Sleeping Forest. And then they just held just that little bit of a high ground there. And I thought for a second that Cool2 BGBG, as well as Nameless, that had control of those little barn areas outside in the open, actually made good for it. But no, the height advantage, obviously, it was the right play there for version 2.
It was the height advantage as well as the man advantage. Cool2 lost 2 members while trying to be down in the field, which is always the big risk. We saw Killer get a nice first initial frag onto them. Didn't see where the second one happened, but then when there was that, not only is it 4 versus 2, but version 2 split up into 2 separate duos, so it was almost 2 plus 2 versus 2, which, trust me, it's worse. It's worse. It's weird how I'm describing it, but just trust me on this one. It was a really rough endgame from Cool2, but a strong positioning for them to get there in the first place, but of course even stronger for version 2 to just be holding down that edge so confidently from like 4 circles, even before they got to that plateau position, still 4 up until the end of the game.
Yeah, 8 kills for Cool2 BGB in the second place, but it's 13 and the chicken dinner for our winners version 2. We're going to take a short break, bring Paul back on in to break down all the happenings of that map number 2 in our Mobile Open Finals.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open Finals. I'm Verum, joined by D-Gun and Cameron Davis. Game number 2 is in the books. And, you know, that game was some action, a little bit of a lull. Some action, a little bit of a lull, and then a pretty explosive finish there near the end. Yeah, it's pretty much what I expect from Miramar at this point, Cam.
Yeah, especially considering that this was, again, 12-team lobby, but so much open space, a lot of different high ground options, not too bad of a hardships, and then halfway through the game, the mid of the movie plot twist, field ending, let's go, everyone sent it, no one's position is strong anymore. You guys, I hope that your waiting has been saving up a bunch of meds, a bunch of utility, because you're going to have to use them now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw someone have like 20 bandages. I was like, well, they knew something was going on. That to me felt like a good Miramar game. That is what I expected. We had the great like close quarters combat fight inside Hacienda, which I loved that one. That was a great back and forth by Just for Fun.
Yeah.
And I had hoped that they would have been able to gotten more kills for that, because I felt like they knocked each other like 10 times, but there's only 8 people there, and you know, only 1 died for passion fruit after it was all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, and they call it the action movie moment. The grenade flies through the window, and they're like, "Get down!" and they're like running away from it, and it's sick. Look, just really cool gameplay to start this off. Still have a lot more action in store for all you folks at home. But before we get back to it, I need to give a huge call out to an amazing organization, AnyKey. If you've tuned into the broadcast all over the last few years, you've heard me talk about AnyKey, and particularly the Good Luck Have Fun pledge. Over the last few years, the goal has been to get the GLHF pledge to 1 million signatures. And we did it, crushed it. But you can still sign up. You can still take part in that amazing pledge, get the badge in Twitch chat. Basically just says, look, if you take the pledge, I'm going to try and be a better online digital citizen, try and reduce toxicity in games that some people do experience. That is definitely out there for a lot of folks competing in games. So definitely something I recommend you check out, anykey.org, ! I think GLHF in the chat is where you can check that out to learn a little bit more about it. And I definitely recommend that you do. It's really cool. I got a chance to sit down, talk to some folks in the industry, and get their thoughts on it. So let's take a look at that as well.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Snix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Oh, you saw it there, gents. ! GLHF. You've all signed the pledge. I've signed the pledge. So you at home should sign the pledge. But let's get back into the games and recap. Put a little bow on match number 2. Taking a look back. D-Gon, I think you sort of said it the best. This was what you want to see from Miramar.
You love the fact that Passion Fruit decided to step on the gas here and get into the action early when they were catching on to Moonlight CN. And then you kind of wish that Flies like didn't get a little caught out here, but Passion Fruit wasn't done yet. Once they head into this Hacienda fight, this was a lot of fun, Cameron.
I am excited to see what Passion Fruit are going to be doing the rest of this series. They see an enemy and they just, like a heat-seeking missile, stick onto them and push. And it's not always super successful as this fight was. I mean, their team play here on these double peaks on the multi-member pushes are absolutely amazing, and it's why they're relatively successful in these fights. But even with that engagement against Moonlight, if they didn't take that initial shot too early when they were driving away way back in the beginning of the game, I do wonder if they were like sneaking up silently, Predator-like. If Moonlight could have like been completely caught off guard and Passion Fruit could have had even better control over this game. But nonetheless, that story unfortunately did end quite early because the field finished. Passion Fruit didn't make that rotation over as cleanly as possible, and here we just see a bunch of fighting for the few pieces of cover that really remained inside the field.
Yeah, wasn't a ton, and I think from here it was, hey, did you send it early? If you did, great. If you didn't, great. Like, this is kind of like, hey, you're at the whim of the circle here. And now, okay, cool. That was the finish that I wanted to see. Kira throwing the molly earlier onto the last members of Nameless. And then the laser shots here multiple times from Cool2. You kind of are pulling for him, but they weren't quite able to finish things off here. And the win heading on over to V2.
I mean, really solid play there from them at the end, keeping calm. And again, when that circle shifted out in the middle of that field and the only cover was hay bales or nothing, I went,
Yeah.
this is going to be an interesting finish to this circle. And it was the team that was going to be able to keep their composure through all of it. That was the one that was going to do the best. Because you called it, Cameron. As teams were on rotations, that's when the kills were going to start to catch up for them. And that's really what we ended up witnessing there a lot at the end. And you know, a lot of action between these two games, despite the fact that we're dropping with 12. These final circle situations have been as explosive as ever. So when we get our leaderboard updated, I'm looking forward to taking a look at that as well. And I think the big thing here to remember is that we only have 5 games to work with your Degon. As we take a look at our leaderboard, teams only have 3 more games to get it done. So if you're a team up there at the top, like V2, you're looking great. But like these teams down near the bottom, only 13 points. You got to turn it around now.
Yeah, chicken dinner's worth 15 points here, so we're still using heavy kill emphasis in terms of if you're able to score points. So you want teams like Cool2 BGBG to keep grinding out those kills. The placements will come, the chicken dinner will definitely come later, but making sure that you stay active. Passion Fruit as well. That's a team that we've been following along so much. Teams that we haven't really been able to talk about as much. Train to Kill has just, we've been calling them out like, hey, they're there, and haven't had the opportunity to hop on in and get themselves as many points as they want. As well as Sleeping Force, they need to make sure they get into the action before time runs up as we're hitting the halfway point. But this Cool2 BGBG squad, the organization been around for a while, specifically in PUBG Mobile in the Americas region, now reloading and finding straight ballers in the form of Ager Boy, as well as a couple of the other members on the squad.
Version 2 as well, who are in a strange way, at least when we've seen from these first 2 games, almost like a complete foil to Cool2 BGBG. Cool2 are a very aggressive team. They are generally very proactive. They find an opportunity to go get into a fight and gather a couple of kills, and they will just send it. They sent it in the middle of the open field. Version 2 feel more like a defensive juggernaut squad. They will post up, and they will just try and take control of the entire lobby, the entire game from their position, like trying to be an overarching force, or Cool2 or more just like the super aggressive guy with the knife that's coming at you.
Yeah. And you want to see them win, though. Like, I want to see a team like that win when it's just unadulterated aggression.
And to be fair, that's how Cool2 BGBG got here. There's a week they put up 11 chicken dinners. Like, they are a team who put up some disgusting numbers, some terrifying numbers, coming into the number 1 seed for a reason. And I think it's that aggression that's really paved the way to get here. The issue is that kind of aggression is often high risk, high reward. And when you have the entirety of multiple play days and an entire week to do that, you can have some off games. You can't have off games here when you only have 5 matches. So while I love the aggression, and this is so weird for me to say, Degon, you know this from me because we've casted together for a very long time.
Forever. Yes.
The only time that I ever don't call for aggression as much as in a situation like this. And Cam, you and I, we've casted a lot more together recently, so you know how much I want to see teams fight, but at the same time, Cool2 BGBG reel it in just a smidge.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you on that one, because like they did some really good work in the previous game. We already talked about it on Erangel. There's only so much we can take away from that one round because it was so hard to adapt to. Not nearly as many opportunities. I do think that they could have made a couple of maybe extra plays on the east side of their position on Erangel, but nonetheless, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen on Sanhok, because this is a map coming up that can make or break an aggressive squad.
Yeah, to me, I think it's you got to send it. Like, play the way that you normally play. You made it here this far. Don't all of a sudden change too much. Be the force that forces other teams to change to you.
All right, I can't disagree with that. Practice how you play and do what got you to this point as the number 1 seed. I'm getting word that the players are ready to go, which means we need to head to a short break. Let's see if Cool2 can do it, or what other squads will step up here in match number 3. Don't go anywhere.
2 maps down, 3 more to go. And right in the middle of it all, we get a round of Sanhok. Half the size, all of the action, all of the firefights. And this plane path is not the best, but it's not too bad. And we're already seeing people drop out of the plane. They want to get the action started. Cameron Davis, run by D-Gun. Are Colt BG going to do it? We already talked about at the beginning of this map. Is there aggressive maneuvers, aggressive plays going to pay off on a map that vision can be quite a fickle thing?
Kimmy, you said that this is like a not a bad plane line. There are no bad plane lines in Sanhok. My favorite map to cast. I love watching people play this one. All the chaos. There's like playing it probably terrible. Like there's no space. A lot of the skill set that you use for all the other maps don't apply here because it's very much a quick explosive trigger finger. As soon as you hear one fight, now the whole map hears you. But it leads to some great gunfights and some wacky opportunities for decision making as teams have to decide they need to go now or later. As Alan shooting early to try and distract the Cool 2 BG member, it's not Walls who had one of the lasers that we saw earlier when they were all stuck in the fields. And so Alan hunting with his other member, not Walls, looks like he's all alone and the jump shot's gonna land. Not Walls. See you later. You're going to watch this one from the sidelines.
Where's the rest of Colt 2? What happened in this drop position? I mean, I know Sanhok's smaller, but shouldn't it be too hard to find a position that's not immediately on someone? Or if you are going to do the hot drop, commit to it with the entire squad. Not Wallace just called off by himself. The rest of Colt 2 just... Actually, they're split. There's one player down south, 2 players up north. So for a team that we were hoping to really come out hot, losing their first casualty, losing the first member of their map is not a great start.
It's not a great start, and it was sloppy too. Like that. Yeah. Like we kind of want to be okay with forgiving. Oh, they made an aggressive play together and it didn't work out. For Cool 2, that was just bad. That was just bad. Like Pinon is a hotspot area, and then that northern tip, a hotspot area where multiple teams want to control so that they can get to all 3 islands. And Cool 2 didn't drop together, didn't drop near each other, and they get punished right off the bat.
Rulo here has an AK, no helmet, no armor, and not even a backpack. Maybe the golden shotgun can do him some work, but it looks like
guns and ammo only.
Yeah, listen, that's all you need, I guess. At least he's hoping for it. But Gamer also has a nice little line from on top of the ridge. Dios, though. Oh, no. I lied. That little lineup is already deleted, already taken care of.
Yeah, that's Dios mio if I've ever seen it before. Great shots there by the Sleeping Forest, man. And Sleeping Forest is a team that we've talked about a couple times as in like, man, they've gotten unlucky or they haven't been able to put it together. But this early start, 2 points off the bat and taking out one of the most aggressive teams, one of the most established organizations in the lobby bodes well, not only for them, but also for everybody.
Wait to see if anyone's there to pick Gamma up. They still don't know where these last few players of Colt 2 are. Do they know that Rulo is just trolling, hiding out from behind that wall? Do they even know that Garaboy is sneaking up from around the side? He initially dropped all the way down on the south. But it looks like they're just going to back away. They don't want to put too much pressure here because we did see the first circle, and it was a fairly northeastern phase 1. So this position is not super strong in regards to its centerness of that circle. So I actually don't dislike this decision. Get a couple of points, but you don't want to overcommit. You don't want to over-search for people that are hiding in bathrooms and just make your way to the circle for free.
The old centerness of the circle. That's right.
Centerness, you know. It's a trackable stat.
Does look like Cool 2 will get away with 2 of their members as Sleeping Forest will decide to awaken somewhere else. But this was the other spot I wanted to highlight. We had 2 teams dropping over at the resort, and they both booked time over each other. You hate to do that when the timeshare isn't meant to be shared with others. And so now Just for Fun and Third Eye going to be going at it just like they did, I believe, in that last game. These 2 teams kind of ran into... Oh, no. It was 2 games ago over in Erangel. These 2 teams ran into each other when Just for Fun were in the middle of a rotation. And also, that was a nade kill onto Train to Kill.
Yeah.
As Passion Fruit
Ooh.
getting back into it.
Yeah, they got one. Exotic, at least. They are down a player this round, unfortunately. But Exotic also gets traded out immediately here for the revive. Is Eddie to pick his teammate back up. And Master, of course, Train to Kill is crawling around, trying to find some information, trying to feed that back to his teammates who are only just now arriving in from the south. You can see one sort of peek their head into the mini-map. It's going to be Russell crossing the bridge, trying to keep this fight up and running to take this position, to take these points, because this is a team that really need to start gathering some points in these final few rounds if they want to have any chance of taking this event, taking this final.
That's right, and for all of you longtime ESL Mobile Open fans and PUBG, America's fans, this is not the Russell that you're used to. This is different Russell. Oh, but better nades than a normal Russell. This Russell is popping off here for Train to Kill as Eddie gets blown up by one of those. And Train to Kill, they weren't able to get in there and save their teammate, but now hopping on in and trying to punish the last two members of Passion Fruit. Passion Fruit only starting this game with 3 members. Not sure if Train to Kill will know that, but they know that they've knocked one so far.
Grenade goes into the closet room just to make sure that it's not no sneaky snake hanging out there. Ooh, that's actually a counter grenade. Exotic are trying to throw out a bunch of those. Second one doesn't get tossed. Oh, but the angle is found. Another member of Train to Kill spots them behind the rock. They're zeroing in on his position.
Yeah, Exotic and Jay need to get it together, get on the same page right now. You do have a couple of stims to heal on up. Nice little sprint across the rocks here. So that should throw off Train to Kill for a little bit and allow the rest of Passion Fruit to figure out what their game plan is. But Russell, he's going on the big flank, the fatty flank. He wants the big daddy steak as he goes all the way around to see if he can punish Passion Fruit.
It's not just that, it's also scouting ahead. That's actually a really nice decision here. You don't need to commit all of your members onto this one player, especially because they're not super deep into the circle themselves. So just slowly find a path around, take care of Exotic when he eventually shows himself. Just don't lose track of his position. That's the one thing that they need to be conscious of, is to don't just pretend that he doesn't exist, hope that he doesn't peek. But if they can move player at a time, one by one. Oh, and a couple of shots. Yep, Russell, that flank finally comes through.
Yeah, and all the while, not sure, chat, let us know, are there any version 2 fans out there? Because version 2 is starting to creep on into these two teams that have been locked into battle with each other. So the longer that they stay there, the more information that version 2 has to decide to hop on in and third party. And that's what I love about this map. People just come in uninvited, no invitation to the party, and they just show up. They take the points. They eat the leftovers. Empty boxes for those that host the party initially.
Yeah. They even take a couple of plates to go.
Yeah, so it does look like things have slowed down just a little bit in this area. But again, Nerd is very, very close. He's literally in the building across from Exotic and Jay, as they are just hanging out. And Russell still flanking. You could see Nerd clearing buildings. Bishan is hanging around the outside as well. Circle about to pop and let us know where we're going, but we know these two aren't moving anywhere until they feel comfortable and safe or probably wipe the opposing team.
Why are Coltu, Frying Pan meet Fire, because they tried to rotate away from Sleeping Forest, and now they're in the middle of a standoff with AST. The circle does shift towards the northwest. There's still a fair bit of water here. I don't think it's going to be too terribly impactful, but it really does mean that this fight down here in the south needs to finish up as quickly as possible. Yeah, let's go back up onto Brulo's position. He has a bit of a lineup. He's actually going to let it rip. He gets 1, he gets 2, and that's it for AST. They're dead. They're gone. They're out in the blink of an eye.
What a play there by Rulo, again lining it up, and we got to see Exotic have that opportunity earlier as he's now headshotted. Hopefully we can head back to that action on that side of the map and see how things wrap on up. No, it's all gone. Is it all gone? I believe everyone there from Passion Fruit still dead. No, Jay's still alive and able to fight back. Picks off Russell, the flanker. So now Bishan and Nur, the two left around Camp Charlie that need to clear it on out. Shots ringing on in, but they're false. Jay staying alive for a little bit longer. Nade coming on through. Will he be able to hold it off? No, he won't. He opens the door and gets a face full of lead. And it is a finish by Train to Kill. We've been waiting for them to show up, and it was going to be a little bit of a worry with the circle moving on in, but they're able to get it done. And Passion Fruit, one of the lobby leaders, out early.
Yeah, this is really strong for a bunch of their other teams to try and make their climb up, and as well for Train to Kill, as you mentioned. I'm a little worried about their progress throughout the rest of the circle, though, because Russell, his approach is big giant flank. I'm a big fan of that, but it's the fact that they kept all their members closed around this position. As I was saying earlier, I was expecting them to sort of just try and get in front of Passion Fruit's position and continue to hold them out, but hold them out with the blue at Passion Fruit's back, rather than a full commitment on that edge of the circle. Hopefully there's no one right in front of them, but over here, Nameless. Who are they overlooking? That's going to be Third Eye they're watching rotate out of Paradise Resort. Ooh, shots come through! Shots land, gets a knock, and they confirm the kill.
Yeah, nice little shots there from Dixie, able to pick that one up and now turn and tail. And man, Third Eye just couldn't catch a break. Originally, they were sharing Paradise Resort with Just for Fun, and apparently they were able to get away. And now Nameless move on in and punish the squad. They are able to get the revive, and the heals are coming on through. They are in a safe spot, but doesn't look like Dixie's done yet.
Rotates his vehicle. I don't know if that was meant for perhaps a sound bait, but Jas is here to wait to see if anyone from Nameless wants to push aggressively while the revives come through. No one yet onto their position. He still doesn't have a helmet. He does have level 3 armor, a little bit damaged. But now I think they're either going to try and make their way out of this entire configuration. It's not on their cards to try and go hunting for someone hiding out in the hills of Sanhok.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're about to run into a crossfire of the team they originally shared Paradise Resort with in the form of Just for Fun and F2K Gaming. So not a lot of options here for Third Eye, but actually I think they found the right one. This complex is clear. No one's there. They can hang out there for a little bit. On the map, though, you see version 2 pop it off and picking up Bishan, who's out in the zone. And the zone is going to be, again, still all 3 islands in play. This one looks like it's going to finish onto the main eastern island around boot camp. Sleeping Forest looking pretty good, but not a lot of teams inside this zone.
I mean, there's always a possibility that I can shift towards the west, towards Cold 2's position, but the chances of that, as you mentioned, is not very high. So I think they're going to want to try and cross the water, but that can always be its own death sentence. Version 2, running around here. Andrew just trying to find a mark, while Train to Kill also trying to push their way in and find a better position here, because the amount of, even though the western islands aren't super prio and the water as well, there's very little land on the main island available for the remaining 10 teams to all be situated in.
Yeah, so teams have to try to scout first, move first. You get rewarded, but also it's a risky play in case you get caught. Just like Moonlight right now. Faker gets knocked. Kindness trying to peek around the corner, and this is close quarters combat with Cool 2 BGBG. Remember, they lost a couple members already. They've already taken down one. It's Jonas, and now Kindness and Flies trying to hold their own. They're able to get one there on Jeraboy. Will they finish him off? Yes, they will. Jeraboy gets left by his final teammate. And so the battle will slow down. Rulo trying to buy a little bit more time. He's shooting through the door, not quite able to do so. Now getting close up to the door, saying, "This is my house now!" And nope, no, you can take it, because Cool 2 BGBG get taken out, but not after. Doing a lot of damage here to Moonlight CM.
Oh, they're still getting the revive, and they're still going to maintain as 3. That was a very chaotic fight for both sides. I think Rulo was trying to wrap around and get a little bit of a 1v1 pincer action from the doorway, but I don't know if the communication was off with his teammate, who decided to peek aggressively around the corner continuously. So maybe a little too much of a peek, as he gets taken out by the 2 barrels staring at his direction. Either way, Moonlight staying alive with those 2 kills. This is still on the western island. We are going to see how they're going to play this one out, but here in boot camp, Sleeping Forest, they already have another team arriving.
Yeah, Sleeping Forest, they had control of boot camp, and then F2K Gaming just sent it in. They sent it in without even checking, and they did not get punished. Again, Sleeping Forest, one of the few teams that started this specific round with only 3 members. So I think they are willing to play this one a little bit more passive as a nade comes on through. Panteras takes a bit of damage, but it's not going to be a killing blow here from Dios.
Yeah, just pops an energy drink and gets ready to push forward. That grenade, if they didn't know that Sleeping Forest were here before, they certainly do now. But are they going to want to try and push outside of these warehouses? The big concern is there are more teams that are going to try and get to this circle. These warehouses are not the hardest things to bomb into, even if you don't have a vehicle. The circle shift does come through. It's going to be confirmation onto boot camp. So both these squads here have to worry about, do we fight each other? Do we try and keep other people from getting inside? How do we play this one on? For everyone else, there are only a few positions outside of boot camp that you can actually hold down. Even those can be quite limiting in what they offer for you. So do they take a fight? Do they try and go into boot camp?
We'll have to find out. I kind of like what VG is doing right now. Vanguard Gaming has Jiwoon just sitting in the top there in the north. Even though it looks like he's in water, he's not. He's standing, and so he's able to gather information for the rest of the team to see who's rotating on in. And he's catching a pretty good glimpse of Nameless right now, as Nameless will rotate on out. Moonlight CN still has to swim across, and VG earlier sent Killer into the river as well. So Killer already scouted ahead to get intel. And so you touched on it earlier. It was, hey, you kind of have to move in early to get the spaces. Oh, never mind. Looks like Killer disconnected and just drowned. I don't know what happened, but Killer was sent in earlier. I promise. I promise he was.
Oh boy, Nameless here. They're having to make a scent of their own. You can see their heads on swivels, peeking around, but I don't know if they're going to be spotting out just for fun, proning in the tall grass. And actually peaceful.
Oh no! That's Third Eye that's shooting it. So Just for Fun has another opportunity for a third party. Will they take it? Gosh! Max! All right, there we go. Max was able to take it finally.
He finds one. So this send by Nameless puts them in a really rough position. That's another knock going against them. This has gone from bad to worse for Nameless. I don't think that they're going to be able to survive this. Look at how many teams are all triangulating onto their position. Even just on the minimap, everyone has lines of sight here. There's nowhere safe to go. Nowhere safe to push. Peppazono, the only one remaining. If they can get a revive onto Xeno, that at least gives them a partner, gives them something to play around. But with this many enemies surrounding them, it's going to be an uncomfortable revive, much less continuation.
Yeah, 4 teams in this northeastern corner with VG Nameless. And here we go around the corner. Peppazono goes perfectly on pizza because he just got chopped up and cooked. As that was a great play there by Third Eye to clear out the team. But now they're running into Just for Fun, who was the other squad that was hunting after Nameless. And Peaceful way outside the zone, trying to make sure no one else is creeping across. He does have some bandages, but will need to get inside the zone. He's going to sprint and send it, but he gets caught out by the other sneaky snake in the grass. It's Smiley is bad, and Smiley... he's smiling now as Peaceful gets taken down. And this is chaos here. And the circle shifts even further away. So I think if you're one of these teams, you just got to try to win the fight, pick up these points.
It depends on where your position is. If you're Third Eye, then yeah, you absolutely need to win the fight. Same with
Just for Fun.
Just for Fun, there they go. But VG, they can disconnect from this engagement and just try and rotate along the coast and fight Moonlight for their position, which is now going to be the predominant one. Boot Camp's not even that strong of a spot considering it's not high ground anymore. But the shot's coming through on the eastern side. The blue zone is also pushing in.
Ooh. There's one there. Max trying to fight up close against Jas. And Jas, remember, he was the one that got 4 kills in that first game, showing off his gun, doing well there. But it does look like the members of Third Eye have been taken down. Just for Fun, win the battle, but they're going to lose the war to the blue zone. Smiley's bad. He's going to loot on up. Does have, was able to find another first aid, so we'll have to follow along with him. And now taking a peek
that's a lot of
inside
first
the
aids.
base. It's F2K taking shots here at Sleeping Forest. And all the while, you called it, Vanguard Gaming was able to peel on off and make it into the zone. They will make it to the northern part of this circle by way of River.
Pushing in onto the boot camp. Final players just making sure the known is pushing behind them. Smiley is bad. Just keep mashing those first aid kits. That's all you got. But Vanguard pushing into Moonlight. They're getting torn apart, torn to pieces. Only 3 kills for them. But we have seen a similar position before on Erangel. This could be a second win of the series. The grenades, though, they're not going far enough. Vici are able to get to the revives and stay alive in this tiny little corner, tiny little pocket of survivable area.
Yeah, Solo. You can see right here, Kindness is trying to roll it off of the hill to the left of Solo. As Solo gonna try to take a peek here, take the shots, float in the middle of the air, and then reload. As Kindness, he's got nades for days. He's a nades a seller, but now forced to run on in, blue zone, close it on in, and that's the end of Vanguard Gaming. They go out in 5th place.
It took a couple of tries, but they eventually zero in on their targets. And this is 5 kills, 3 members alive, but it's still a strong position. The blue at their back, the circle just shifted away from them, and now suddenly we're back to boot camp. Made us all think that we were gone from that position, which means that Sleeping Forest, only 3 up, 3 kills, can just try and take control of this entire game, entire round. They do have neighbors just to the east of them, but everyone else who's not in the boot camp, they're just getting torn to shreds, torn apart, torn to pieces.
Yeah, version 2 tried to make Ascended on in, not quite able to, and both M11 and Alu BB being punished for it. The only one left alive for version 2, it's Ander. You can see him on the outskirts trying to heal on up, but right now Sleeping Forest wide awake because they've got the prime real estate. Also, it looks like Moonlight is also trying to do a heal off here. Jonas is in the spot, so looks like the 2 teams that originally were at boot camp are back at it again. It is F2K and Sleeping Forest, and I believe this is a 4v3 with 2 solo members, one in Moonlight and one in Ander. Ander just went on out, 3 teams still remaining.
What's this whiplash that the circle has been giving us? It swings west, it swings east, it swings back towards the west. Makes us continue to guess on who has the strong position, but that is the nature of Battle Royale. It can change on a dime. Now F2K. Smokes come out. They need to push through. The blue is at their back, and the smokes are giving them a little bit of survivability. But the high ground of Sleeping Forest is getting pressured. Good damage, good shots is allowing F2K to get a closer position, and that's 1 knock.
Yeah, Pilo able to take him down at the M249, and now they're pushing on in. The go button has been pressed. Sleeping Forest, they have the high ground, but now they're in a lot of trouble. Deo's trying his best to get his teammate up, but the nade is gonna come on in. He's sitting right on it. Will it blow him up? We don't know. Qin now forced to swap on over. He gets taken down, and only 1 member left of Sleeping Forest at full HP. Allen was able to actually stay alive through the nade, but they are just raining on in, and Allen, he wants to get the heck out of there. He's gonna chug a drink. That'll give him some liquid courage. He has to check the corners, aims right above him. The smoke on the backside as Deos doing a little bit of work there, but Panteris is able to take him down. And now climbing up the stairs, Allen trying to win the 1v1, able to win the 1v1, and now there's only 1 left. He's on top of him. The Tommy gun doesn't ring true. Allen jumps off, almost goes into the blue. Now forced to keep running, closes the door behind him. 1 mechanics here by Allen. Will he miss the window? Yes, he misses the window, but now he's down and buys a little bit more time. What play by Allen to stay alive here by Sleeping Forest. But Panteris, he's on the hunt. He's using third party. You can see around him. Panteris, here's the reload. There's the peek. Gets a headshot. He's low. Panteris might blow this. No, he doesn't. And it is a win here by F2K Gaming. Oh, what a boot camp finish here, Cammy.
Sleeping Forest, Allen almost made it work, but ultimately it was the pressure coming out from F2K, not allowing Sleeping Forest's premier building position win them the game. The grenades that they threw, through all of those windows, and just the pressure, they didn't let it up. They surrounded the building, and they made it as chaotic as possible, but still Sleeping Forest almost made it work. It really could have gone either way, I think, in those final few moments, at least between those two squads in boot camp.
Yeah, and remember, Dios was the one that revived Alan, so Alan had enough time to get up, put the first aid on in, chug a drink, and then make that play happen. That was a hell of a try. And again, from a team that started the game only with 3 members, that was a great result there by Sleeping Forest, who's been on the cusp for a little while. We're going to take a short break, calculate the scores, and when we come back, we'll break down all the action and get ourselves ready for game number 4. You're watching the ESL Mobile Open Ladder 1 Finals.
Everyone, welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open Finals. I'm Navarro, I'm joined by Degon and Cameron Davis. These two guys have been holding it down on the casting front for the last few games, and these have certainly delivered. The finish there, Cam, I think it was you who said it was like breaking ankles out there, giving us, it was left, it was right. Is it going to be in the fields? Yeah. Is it going to be in boot camp? The second you thought maybe you could predict where it was going to go, nope, wasn't having it. but that did mean we had a pretty stellar finish. Alan! Alan! That wasn't a good toss to either of you, but yeah, Deegan, what do you think?
One of us experts on the desk here said, yeah, the boot camp, not great place to hold anymore after it shifted that hard on over. Well, Sleeping Forest disagreed with that analyst and held it pretty well until eventually F2K Gaming cleared it on out. Yeah, I don't know, but Cammy, as an expert here, why don't you take it away to kick things off?
This was, so outside of the boot camp shenanigans, this was for a number of teams, just Sanhok things where you think that there's no one and suddenly there's someone. Sure, for Cold 2, you could see people parachute with you. So we don't exactly know what happened there. But we did see a couple of other times, engagements where, bam, suddenly Rulo has a lineup on the final 2 remaining members and gets a full squad wipe there.
Yeah, and I loved this part here. It was calm, cool, and collected here by Train to Kill. Russell with the early flank, but then Bishan able to wrap things up and clean things up. And we've been waiting for that by Train to Kill. And then Nameless, another team here that picked up on the action. Third Eye has been getting away with barely from some confrontations, but Nameless punishing them for it. And then there's Cold 2 BGBG getting punished by Moonlight CN. Pepazzono, not quite it there, as Third Eye, they got squished into this big fight. And here's another team that we've been waiting for to pop off in Just for Fun.
It was a really good start to their engagement here, but with the hard shift going away from this position when the blue started to close, it closes so much faster than it would otherwise, which meant that the fight, if it wasn't ended, well, the blue is going to make it end. They're like the parent when the kids are fighting in the back seat.
Yeah, and finally the M249 was just enough for Panteris and the rest of the crew. But man, what an attempt again by Alan, just dashing and ducking around, closing all the doors, and able to get himself a second place and at least make F2K work for it.
Certainly was that there at the end. All the dodging, weaving, jumping around, parkour all over the final end of boot camp. That's crazy. Absolute insanity. That's only game number 3. We still have 2 more matches in store for all you fine folks at home, which means we need to take a look at our updated leaderboard, see how these first 3 matches have shaken out. Up at the top there, it's version 2, but look at these scores. Moonlight CN is hot on their heels, Cam.
Yeah, it's only 3 points behind with 2 games remaining. It really could be for either of these squads. The problem is for everyone else, that is a big point deficit, even dropping from 2nd place to 3rd with only 2 games remaining. Third Eye, Cold 2, F2K, Passion Fruit. These squads are going to have to go big for the final 2 rounds and hope that version 2 and Moonlight, what has been a very, very solid streak of games for them, comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah, and that doesn't seem to be the case here because they've been so darn consistent, right? And even though you got teams like Train to Kill that had a nice little finish there, AST that just hasn't been able to get themselves into the placement points throughout the first 3 games. They're active double digits in the kills. Teams really clamped down. I would say probably like 2 circles before the end. I would say like zone 5, zone 6. We're seeing teams just get hyper aggressive and both get kills there like AST, but then get punished for it because they don't have the space to move on in.
And it's interesting looking at a team like F2K who probably wasn't one that I wouldn't have had my eye on necessarily coming into today. You talked about it, Cam. They will need to come to a screeching halt at this point because they have been looking really darn solid. And again, so far, it sort of seems like this is the example of the haves and the have-nots. Those 2 teams up there at the top, 50-plus points, and then everybody else who's down there in the 20 range. But all the rest of those teams are really close together. I mean, 3rd through 8 is functionally a toss-up.
Yeah. I'm looking at here at Train to Kill. They're quite far down.
Yeah.
On the leaderboard. They've had a couple of good moments. I really like how they took that engagement, despite it was quite a long one against Passion Fruit, but I like the thought process. Russell going for that big wide flank. And this was a team that were in the top 16 of the league ladder the entire time. Sure, there was 14th place, 14th place, then 15th place, and 16th place. Probably the 2nd most consistent team in terms of overall ladder placement. I was curious to see how they would come into this, and I think it has been a little bit too much of a slow start, but they've had a couple of strong moments, particularly in the last game, that I'm curious to see if they can't sort of get themselves. I don't know if they're in a position to get the win at this point, but perhaps significantly higher on the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, I think a good diagnosis for anyone is the fact that we're going back to Erangel on this next map.
Yeah.
And that first Erangel map, like I said, was ugly. It was very not playable for so many teams that anyone had strats. The plane path was tough. The circle was like mostly water. Like now is another opportunity for teams to refresh. And if you're one of those teams in the top, like Moonlight Cien, who I would say outmaneuvered a lot of those teams in the ugly game, they need to continue to keep the pedal to the metal. And if you're a team like Train to Kill that also dropped on the Southern Island, on the military island side, they need to keep up the momentum that they built on the other maps, especially when it goes to standard play.
And look, just because they're a team that came in near the bottom, you know, like you said, Kim, they had the consistency, and they're playing up against a lot of squads. Hundreds of teams were playing every single week to try and make it here to the top 16. And well, they're doing it again because ladder number 2 is live right now. As much as we're crowning a champion here for the ESL Mobile Open for ladder 1, ladder 2 is underway. And if you're a player who's not currently enrolled, what are you doing? Get a squad together. If you don't have a team, head on over to the ESL Mobile Discord, ! Sign up in the chat, get a squad together, and get involved, because this is the way to get started in competitive PUBG Mobile. And I cannot understate enough how much fun it is to just play in a competitive tournament environment like this as an old school competitive player myself. But as I say that, the players are ready to go for game number 4, which means we need to head to a short break. When we come back, the next match right after this.
I go ready for it. 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 I go ready for it.
And here we go. Welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open PUBG Mobile Ladder 1 Finals. We're in game number 4. Degon and Cameron Davis here bringing you the action. And pretty good playing path for this one here, Cameron. Like not a lot of off strats. I think everyone's going to be able to go with their number 1 drop here.
Yeah, I mean, we're not out of the woods just yet, though we can see the light. If we could still have a military circle, we could still have a far west bank circle, God forbid a Georgia Pole Bay circle, but at least the playing path is giving the initial drop positions a bunch of options. You're already seeing a couple of teams leave the plane already, perhaps trying to contest the farm area, maybe the military area, the Dirty Dozen, just to the east of Ferry Pier, and that does seem to be where a lot of them are going, but we do still have Moonlight on military. We still have Cole 2 and Novo. Curious to see if we're going to see any more hot drops.
Yeah, Train to Kill, again, was the other team that dropped a military base, but they're heading on over towards Milta, and doesn't seem like they're going to have a lot of opposition in that area as well. Who's our Georgia Pool teams? Nameless? Maybe? Not a lot of Georgia Pool teams. Wow. All right. No one likes to play Georgie. We usually have a big fight over Georgie. Oh, that's why, because they're geniuses.
Oh boy, okay. I'm not ringing the alarm bells just yet. This does mean, at the very least, that Moonlight and Cold 2 don't have to rush their crossing of the bridge. We're going to see a fair bit of contesting for the positions around farm. Maybe not at the coast itself, the southern coast, but just around that area. Because if we do get a phase 2 or even a phase 3 hard shift towards the south, we're going to see a bunch of teams that suddenly have to rotate when they were hoping to not, leading up to now.
Right, and I like that we now follow along Passion Fruit. No Sleeping Forest in sight. Sleeping Forest decided to loot around Pachinki, but not in Pachinki. No one's there. If teams wanted to rotate across to military base early, the western bridge is played. No one is currently there. The eastern bridge is being occupied by Train to Kill in the north and Cool 2 BGB in the south. The closest team to rotate on over right now, I believe, is F2K Gaming, but I think Manzano is being cut off right now by 2 members of AST. That might be the only early action that we see in this first circle, is the 2 teams close to a standoff right now. As Manzano, I don't know why he went that far away from the rest of his team.
I will say, with the teams that are not on the military island, they still only have half of phase 1 to find a solid position here. But wait, Russell, did he land here or did he cross?
He crossed. Russell went across the bridge for some reason, and the rest of his team still in Milta. They're in vehicles.
A 3-1 split?
It's a 3-1 split.
They might be incredibly nervous about a hard shift towards the south, and I don't blame them considering how much of the circle is on the military island. Having a sort of plan B isn't a bad option. The problem is he ran directly into a position that was almost being controlled by Culture BGBG. He's going to have to keep his head down, hope that he doesn't get hard pushed. He does have a nice angle, can peek over the side of this ridge, and Garaboy, I don't think... Yeah, it looks like they're not going to go aggressive here. Oh, wait, unless he tries to find the high ground, find the angle. You're not going to hit that with a mini. Russell, don't even try.
That was a classic Russell move. He thought about it.
Hey, listen, he's taking up the mantle.
He is.
Someone's got to carry the banner.
Well, there's Train to Kill. You can see him on the mini-map. They all roll on in. The cavalry is here. And Russell... Oh, no! He still got picked off! Yadiel from distance takes down Russell in the bird. All he can do is circle around his master as he's down. But Nerd will be able to get there in time. Doesn't look like Cool 2 is going to send it on in to follow. Or will they? Yadiel, he's driving by. And yeah, it looks like Cool 2 will hit the aggressive button. The only button on their controller, I guess, of moves.
The aggression macro.
Yeah.
They have an algorithm and it runs. Yeah. Or it's one of those
Smoke's coming
decision-making
down.
dice. They just roll it, and it's always just push, just attack. It was a little bit of a slow start because they wanted to find that opening engagement, but Russell going down. Yeah, sure, he's getting revived, but it's resources being utilized. They have a couple of players all sort of locked into the one little square of positioning. And Yadiel is looking out, waiting to see if anyone tries to retreat, tries to escape. And he's pretty safe behind this wall for now. So Cool2 still with heavy priority in this engagement, not to mention the two players on the high ground. Shots come out,
Oh.
don't really land, so Nerd and Russell, are they going to stay here? Are they going to try and play at a 2-2, or are they all going to try and get away and retreat?
I don't know, but Yadiel lasered Russell, but then couldn't hit the vehicle at all. So it just kind of shows some of the areas of growth for these players, and that's why this tournament is so dang good for everyone in this space. Again, we've been doing this for almost 2.5 years and seeing so many of the North American greats get their start and ply their trade here. And now Master OP, he's going to get close-up combat nearby with Yadiel. Yadiel sees him. Oh, and he gets lasered right on down. Tommy Gun says, hello, Yadiel, goodbye. He's out of the lobby, and Cool2 BGBG did not support the full aggressive send, and they lose one of their members.
Yeah, it's a full commitment of the kill. It's not just the knock. And so now Cool2, on one hand, they had no pressure to get the revive, but now how do they deal with this engagement? And it looks like T2K have their eyes set on Rulo. Needs to be incredibly safe, but that's a vehicle sent across. Not Walls needs to land these shots. He's got a nice 4x on the DP, proning down, but Rulo's taken a lot of damage, just barely gets behind cover to get the heals working on his health bar.
Yeah, what is Cool2 doing? Like, you're up here, which is kind of helpful, but I figured you would need 2 down there. Never mind, Not Walls knows exactly what he's doing. I'm an idiot, and is able to land the shots there. Rulo did the nice little dance to buy time, but if he didn't, there's no way that Cool2 would stay and try to pick up these kills, and I don't even know if they're going to be able to pick up Rulo here.
He hasn't been knocked just yet. He's being a big nuisance and a big distraction. But as it's set up, Cool2's high ground players have a good defensive line of sight to help protect Rulo. And the grenades flying in aren't landing on where T2K wanted to go. Smoke wall comes out for potential retreat by Rulo. And yeah, he's going to throw one final grenade before he sends it out, and that's another knock.
Again, the DP coming on through by Not Walls, and he's landing them from way, way out, just lasering with the dinner plate and saying, it's served, my friend. The main course is you.
Rulo is still in a little bit of trouble, but that knock is going to slow it down. The problem is he can't go much further than where he is right now. Pushing up that hill, it's going to be a death sentence because there's no cover up that way, and I don't think he has a vehicle. And even if he did, there's multiple guns potentially trained on a Dacia going up that hill. It's still... I still don't favor his chances of survival. So really, he just needs to play it safe. Hope that Garaboy and Not Walls can protect from any potential crosses. But at the moment... Yeah?
We heard some shots over in the northern part of that bridge as well, as you could see.
Send.
Russell.
The vehicle sent.
Oh, it was 3 people sending. No punish there by Cool2 BGBG. I was going to say we also have a fight by F2K Gaming and Passion Fruit, but that'll wait as this saga continues here on military base. We don't even know if it's going to be a southern circle, so these guys are just like, yeah, we've decided we're just going to fight now. This is the play here by T2K.
It's a commitment to military by T2K. They could have easily waited to see where the second circle goes. Grenades come out. Mollies come out, and it's a good bit of damage, but no knock just yet. Grenade goes in through the window. I don't think it's going to find anyone there.
Yep, Nerd has an idea where Rulo is, but there's just no way to get to him. Master OP thinking about the flank, but he knows that as soon as he turns the corner, it's going to rain down from heaven. As the other members of Cool2 up top, Nerd getting the smoke down. That's going to help protect them if they decide to send it. But also, Not Walls has repositioned all the way to this eastern side. Meanwhile, Passion Fruit just took out F2K Gaming, so we're down a team in Passion Fruit with 4 kills already.
Ooh, the push onto Rulo.
Pushed. Here we go. Able to get a headshot early. Has no support. Gets 2. But I guess whoever had Overwatch wasn't able to punish there. Jeraboy not able to see because Russell is holding him off. And now Rulo's going to do the back pedal crawl. Not Wall's going to send it on in and try to prevent the revive. He took a ton of damage from the vehicle. It has to stop his push. Oh, no.
This was Rulo's first knock, and so they can take a little time. But again, the needing to go for the first aid kit, not Wall, suddenly had to stop. Only had time for a single grenade. It's not going to find them, but look how low those knocked members of T2K are. The revives, I think, are going to come through, and it's going to fully reset this engagement. Another grenade potentially coming out from Not Walls.
Oh, gets chunked a bit there by Russell. Nerd. Right hand throw, has to move his body all the way outside, possibly getting shot, but is able to hang tight. Pops the door open so that he has a nice little barrier for healing. And Master OP getting aggressive again, just pushing right on up to the face of Not Walls and Rulo. Does not have cover as the rest of his team forced to heal. And because they've been in the standoff for such a long time, they're starting to run out of equipment. You're down to bandages instead of first aids and throwing flashbangs instead of frags.
And we got teams also making their way over the bridge because the Circle has decided on the military base. Passion Fruit is here. They could decide to third-party this from the high ground off on the distance if they wanted to. Eddie, yep, he's got his own DP out. They actually all have their sights trained. Russell's in a little bit of trouble trying to be in that Overwatch position, and now the rest of T2K, they're going to have to be very aware of the angles because they're caught between 2 squads.
Yeah, there's a nade. Ooh, he doesn't know how much damage he did, but man, Nerd, very, very low energy drink. Still has the med kit here for Not Walls. So cool 2BGBG, they feel good in this standoff compared to their opponents, as I think that was Nameless getting cut out there by Kindness, that is of Moonlight CNCN.
Smokes come out. And yeah, Passion Fruit, they're continuing to really push onto this position. They're not confident or okay with just having that hilltop. They want more. They want the compound. They want a few buildings to play with. Because look at all these. These are potential kills that they could pick up. And you know Passion Fruit are loving that. They already have 4.
Yeah.
But they're never going to stop until they are the ones taken out of the server. Let's see what the Circle 3 goes. As we said, Circle 2 was confirmed on military. And yep, it's a full shift down there. Everyone's going to be coming onto this crossroad position.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if Passion Fruit knows that they're getting shot from up top. Jeraboy is just hanging out there, having a lot of fun, as finally Nerd able to push on through and pick up a couple kills here on the Passion Fruit. Jay's forced to second. He runs into Call 2BGBG and says, hello, goodbye, see you later. That's one of my favorite bands, and now... It looks like we're going to hang out. Lost Walls just doing his best to hold on for a little bit longer, but that distraction by Passion Fruit, not enough time. The go button is being pressed by Cole2BGBG. And yes, Yadiel died because his team didn't follow up, but now they follow up and clean up the other members of Trained to Kill. And Russell, the last one alive by Trained to Kill, he's going to rotate himself out. But Passion Fruit, they're the new contenders into the ring.
Yeah, Jay, the last one remaining.
Nice.
They want this fight. They want these kills. They want these points. They saw the double knock from the grenade and the kill feed, and they realized that. Okay. Maybe that grenade, maybe not the best one, but they still realize that there's fewer people here.
Hey, that's a good one.
Maybe more favorable fight.
He knows where he's at. Not Walls. Just going to take his time to heal on up, let the stims do his thing, but lots of shots are... Ooh, yeah. They could see it from up top. It's Jeraboy raining down these shots. And this does not bode well for Jay, whose teammate has already bled on out. I believe that was Adrestria, who's now out. Jay trying to take these shots. Rulo finishes him off.
Hey, listen, Passion Fruit, it's their way of playing. Go for the fights. But Jay basically just threw himself to the wolves. there. They only 4 points. It looked like such a strong start for Passion Fruit, but then being way too overconfident in that rotation, got a number of their players taken out. And Colt2, though, still 3 up. After all of that engagement, after all of that fighting, and now they can focus all their attention on controlling this big giant hill that's going to have a good priority over the rest of this game. It's still a little bit towards the north side, but leaving the hill going towards the south is not the hardest thing to do. But let's try and look at what everyone else has been up to. We've been focused on that single position. We got to catch up with everyone else.
Yeah, Third Eye here on the Eastern Bridge. This was the original bridge. As they go through, they're going to run into the place that we've been watching for the whole time. But it looks like they'll be able to move on nice and clean. They're going to hang around the bridge and just hold the northern side of this base, as well as Novo is going to be very busy. You've got version 2 over there. You've got Vanguard Gaming over there. So Novo as well going to be a hotspot. Circle shifts. Where does it go? We'll see where it goes in just a second. But I believe it went to the south here. So teams that sent early will receive the dividends there. Yep, it is a southern circle. You don't get to play this area of the map too much. It's a little bit hilly on the south, but if you go a little bit more southwest, you got one compound there as teams still rotating on in. Who was that just died in the middle of the water? Is that SF?
I don't know. All I'm looking at is, again, Moonlight are finding themselves a position that is uncontested. We'll see if it shifts away from them like it did on Sanhok, but I was thinking that the satellite mountain would be a strong position for Colt2 to control. This was one of the few positions of a hard shift that completely removes that position from play. There's a couple of dips if you leave down the south of that area, but it's not a comfortable position to play in at all. But that's not just for Colt2. That's for many of these teams here.
Oh, we just had a ton of people die to zone. Like all of version 2, except Ander, just died to zone. I don't know what killed them. So they're down to just one member after having 4 land into Novo. I think it took him a while to get into the zone. Now we're following along with Third Eye, who's trying to land these shots against VG. VG, whoever wins this fight will have the eastern control of the circle and the high ground control as we move on into zone number 5 here. And so this is a very, very important fight in VG. They are hurt and battered, but not quite dead yet. 3 still alive. They're getting sent on in. Killer needs to land these shots. Jiwoon's nade lands true and peaceful. Is forced to go down on all 4s. Jiwoon on the top of this building, trying to buy some time. The only other person damaged on this team is Billy, and Billy's working his way on in. There's the nade. Jiwoon catching it with his face. Shrapnel goes everywhere. Now it's just Spark, the last one in this building, as Vanguard Gaming are losing the fort.
I was hoping that Killer would be more impactful from his high ground position, but is unable to find the angles, and now that they're inside, there's not much that he can do from the outskirts here. Clearing out the top floor, Third Eye, make sure they have all of the areas secure. And now it's just Vanguard separated, desperate from each other. All just fighting for survival as solos essentially at this point.
Yep, there it is, all the smoke, and there it is. Killer gets taken out, Spark gets taken out, and that's Vanguard Gaming dropping to Third Eye in 7th place.
Moonlighter here. Yeah, Killer got taken out by Moonlight, so a third party action into this engagement. And I think Moonlight going to stay here and try and keep Third Eye in a not strong position, because look how far, or rather close to the edge this is, far from the center. Third Eye going to have to try and rotate out of this, find a better position, but with the openness of this zone, it's going to be a difficult push for them. This is reminding me a lot of the first Erangel game, where there was a lot of open space, maybe 1 or 2 compounds.
Yeah, you've got 4 of Moonlight, 4 of Third Eye. I believe it's 2 of AST, 2 of Forest, and 3 of Cool2 BGBG, and then the one lone version 2 member, Ander, that survived the massive rotation and the damage that the zone was dealing. And now Oh, no. Jay, lots of trouble. Gets blown up there by Jonas. Nowhere for him to go out in the open. And that just leaves Che, the last member alive here for AST, or Chief, the last member alive here for AST. And she's forced to dip on out and is going to get hunted down by Faker. Faker is just pushing his way on in. And Shay knows, or Chief knows, gotta run. Needs to run somewhere. And his bot time, and thank goodness Faker gets called back on him, but it seems like...
Yeah. Wait. Not so far. I like how Moonlight are trying to take proactive control of this circle and really set up their zone of priority. But you don't want to go too aggressive. You don't want to go too out there. And yes, this does leave AST with a single member remaining, but out in the blue, she has to get back into her buggy. There's already some teams in front of her. And now Cole2. They haven't had a fight since that big, long engagement that took up the first half of this entire game. They're slowly moving in, a little bit of open space in front of them, but back to Faker. Gets a couple of shots on a rotating Sleeping Forest player.
Yeah, Sleeping Forest, they dropped all the way in the northwest. I believe they were a Georgia Pool team. They had to rotate on in a little bit later, and now they get caught on out. Only Allen left alive there for them. Jonas does get knocked, though, by Cool2, and, you know, maybe, just maybe, Moonlight have bitten off a little bit more that they can chew. Is Jared Boy trying to figure out, all right, we know where Moonlight is. Where the heck are the rest of these teams? As he was watching backwards as he drives on through, and will join the rest of his teammates, and it looks like they're going to be Shaq Gamers.
Good dip held by Jeraboy. Waiting to see if anyone's backfilled over on the high ground, but it's just Chief.
Yeah, there it is.
Rotating up. Yep. The vehicle should have been spotted. Engel now held.
Good instincts. Good instincts here by Jeraboy being like, yeah, this is the only place that anyone could roll on through. And Chief, she's seen it all right now and still trying to get those placement points for AST. As it does look like Moonlight was able to get the revive back on up. Cole2 not willing to continue to pursue that one, as they know that someone was pushing from behind. And now Peaceful and the rest of Third Eye. 4 members up. This is their opportunity to strike and get some points. 3 kills already. We got to see him smash on into the building earlier where Vanguard was. Now trying to finish off Allen from distance here.
Yeah, Moonlight's focus on the western side of the zone did give Third Eye an opportunity to find their own position in, and not many places to go. A couple of different angles, and that's going to be attempted, not successful. And that's AST down. 5 teams remaining. Jonas from Moonlight. Listen, they still have 4 members up, but as I was saying, with their attention on the western side, means Third Eye now had the opportunity to push in themselves. They have a little bit of a spread of control of their own. There's only 1 solo remaining, and then a few pretty healthy squads.
Yeah, Ander still hanging out by himself for version 2. Just getting those placement points. And then Allen for Sleeping Forest.
2 solos.
Also hanging around. So 2 solos. You got the members of Cool2 BGBG, and then the big dogs of Moonlight and Third Eye. There's Jazz. He's been active throughout this tournament and probably leading the team in kills. Is Jazz going to hop on into the US and start moving? Where are we going? Where are we dropping?
Setting up to the high ground with the rest of the teammates. Converging all in on the single position once they found the information, had a little bit of control. The shift is helpful for them. And now they're going to be contesting against Colt2 here on the high ground. I like this movement by Third Eye. But their position has been given away. I'm not exactly sure how much information they have on the Colt2's own position. And then, of course, how does Moonlight play into this equation?
Yeah, and during the rotation, that final member, Ander, of version 2, was taken down in 5th place. So we've got 1 sneaky snake and then a 4v4v3. There goes the sneaky snake. So here we go, our 4v4v3 with some major players in it. Colt2 BGBG could hop into the lead here with a chicken dinner. But Moonlight, no matter what happens, will have a nice little chunk of points as well. 7 kills here, and a win here will put basically the tournament out of reach.
I think even at this point, it's a lot of points gathered from this game. We still have 1 more map remaining, so nothing is completely completely said and done just yet. But Moonlight, yeah, everyone who's already been taken out of this game, they're just biting their nails hoping that they go out first in this final top 3 engagement. And they're on the low ground. They actually have the weakest positioning here.
I like this. Not Walls, though. He's right on the edge. So once this zone pops, people will be less likely to check this area maybe, just because it seems right outside of the zone. But Jonah's still peeping up and down. Wants to see where we're going here.
Shift towards the west. This actually helps Moonlight. This is bad for Third Eye. They're going to have to sweep either the top or the low ground.
Got to pick one. And look at this. If you head here to the low ground, there's nothing here.
Yeah. There's not even much for Coulter. They had to bring in a vehicle in for a little bit of cover. Moonlight had this small little ridge to work with, but it's not in the circle. They're going to have to push out into that lone tree in front of them to find a solid position and maybe try and take that rock. But then if Third Eye peek over from the high ground when they try and do so, they're just going to get torn to shreds. So really, it's a whole catch-22 of who moves first.
You can see the ring of smoke that they're putting down. I think they're going to try to manufacture it. No, they're going to try to send it. Multiple members of Moonlight get taken down by Cool2BGBG. If you're Third Eye, this has to be time to go. Jeraboy does get lasered down. Third Eye is able to pick up the kill onto Jeraboy. And then the points heading on over to Third Eye. I think that was Flies getting taken down by Third Eye. So nice little play here. Now 6 kills and multiple members still alive. And it looks like Third Eye has been gifted this game. The first team to blink was Moonlight. And now Third Eye, they say, I actually, this Third Eye doesn't actually get too itchy. So I can keep it open all the time and see how we can get the points, how we can take the lead, and vault our name into the leader books here. Because now Peaceful pushing on in, doesn't know where the last one is, but Cool2BGBG, only one member alive. There's the nade, and it's Third Eye that outlasts both Cool2 and Moonlight to finish that one off. Double-digit kills as well. So this team that's been on the cusp for a little while in Third Eye show up here in game number 4 with only one left, Cammy.
Yeah, really, really good finish. We didn't see a lot how the early game rotations worked out, but they were able to make it across the bridge with 4 members still up. And then we saw that initial take of a compound that Vanguard had just landed in, which is never a super comfortable engagement, especially with Killer there on the high ground, but they survived through all of that. Moonlight also backs away from their potential gatekeeping there. So this is another example of the whole, the butterfly effect, where one move completely shifts the entire status of that round. But in that final top 3 positioning, they utilized the high ground. Moonlight had to go first because their positioning was so weak. They had to go for a Hail Mary play, and then Third Eye was there to capitalize on what Colt2 did to try and answer against Moonlight. The whole thing fell in their favor, and they kept 4 up throughout the entire game.
How about that for Cool2, though? We stuck with them and their aggressive play early on. Remember, Yeniel was the one that started everything off, and then the rest of his team placed all the way to second. A great job there by Cool2. This scoreboard is going to be close. I can't wait to see it. And we'll get to do that right after this short break here. 1 game left in the ESL Mobile Open PUBG Ladder 1 Finals. Stick around.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open Finals here for PUBG Mobile, our first ladder of 2021. I'm in Verum, joined by Degon and Cameron Davis, and game number 4 is in the books, and it came down to an epic three-way standoff there at the end. 3 teams up there looking to take over control of the leaderboard, looking to put themselves in a great position going into our final game, and you sort of was like it was a blink and you miss it kind of moment. It was the team that balked first that really just crumbled there at the end, Degon.
Yeah, and I think Third Eye really proved it throughout the tournament or throughout that map because, as we see in the highlights, they not only waited in that final final circle, but also took it to Vanguard Gaming earlier. But it really started here, Cammy, with this long standoff between Cool2 and T2K.
Yeah, that knock and full kill on Yadiel was I think a bit of a misstep for Cold2. They tried to bite off a little more than they could chew, but I'm really excited we get to see this. There was a lot of fighting throughout the rest of the round outside of that engagement on the crossroads. A bit of a 2-member standoff, and then suddenly Passion Fruit came in. But this is Passion Fruit's start to this, where they just completely try and vie for control of the bridge. And if you put a body in front of Passion Fruit, they are going to push. And they got the 4-wipe there. It didn't last too long from that point. Back to Rulo. This was the double-member spray down that he got.
Ooh. And it bought enough time. That's when I was like, oh, Rulo's dead. But Not Walls came on in, bought enough time. Passion Fruit came on in as well. They're like, you want some? Come get. Oh, I'm dead, because Cool2 BGG. Cool2 was giving it out. And that was the end of finally the fight. It was like 15 minutes of action there on that part of the map. But then here it is, Third Eye sending it on into this building where, oh, I didn't realize Peaceful got blown up like that first. But then this nade where it really turned the tide in their favor and they were able to get all 4 members up and score the points. But then Moonlight just catching a ton of people off guard, scoring points here as well.
Yeah, they get a good number of kills for them. I believe Moonlight ended with 7, which is a pretty good take. It ties them kill-wise with Cold2. And Cold2 are in that engagement in the early game. So good for Moonlight, who came in on the southern side to really just take control of their position. But here was a big, nasty spray down at the end. Moonlight didn't have a lot of moves in front of them. They tried to go for a Hail Mary, it didn't work out, and then here was Third Eye's, or at least Cold2's final moments, where Third Eye took the advantage, took their opportunity, and just completely wrapped around the now suddenly wounded Cold2's position.
It was so interesting to see how that sort of fell apart, because Cold2 BGBG looked like they were about to be in a good spot, but just in sort of the frenetic finish of that last match, people hiding behind trees, not a whole lot of cover to be had as they tried to gain ground, taking shots from multiple angles, and ended up coming out a little worse for wear at the end. But still, that start was so nuts, because 15 minutes of action at least. Degon, they were fighting each other in that compound for the entire match. The entire match. Insanity.
I don't even know like where they got all the utility. Like the utility just kind of like
Nerd
feel
didn't
like
have a helmet. He just had his mohawk hanging out for like the whole game. Every time I look over at Nerd, he's just like, still no helmet. And still no helmet. I was like, this man's never going to find a helmet. It's going to be great. Anyway, let's take a look at the leaderboards, because I need to see how after all that, how it finally shook out.
Ooh.
So this, it's looking better from the previous leaderboard. It's definitely a little more fair. We, of course, still have Moonlight in version 2 as the heavy favorites to take this one at the end of this final game. But Third Eye and even Cold2 have a reasonable shot. It will depend on how early, if they do, Moonlight or version 2 go out. But Third Eye and Cold2, I would not suggest a hot drop in this position. They want to just play their as solid of a game as they can. Then again, we've seen, like, Cold2, they're an aggressive team. They might want to take that shiv that I told you that they had, like, very in the early game, but a Moonlight here. These guys have been coming up with solid positioning almost every single game. They're not very loud in the early or the mid game, but then they put themselves in a really strong position, and they try and take over once the end game hits. And it's been mostly successful. Like, just placement points alone have been very strong.
Yeah, and, you know, a lot of that is kind of off the back of Faker, the young man from Houston, Texas. He's been leading the way here, and I love the fact that that squad have played in the Mobile Open before, but this is their first time collectively as a team in the finals. Version 2, another one of those squads that has just been hanging around for a little while. A couple of them played multiple seasons in the Mobile Open, and Kira specifically has played in every single Mobile Open, as version 2 still trying to climb their way up the leaderboard. But as you said, feels like it's a 4-team race, with the chicken dinner being worth 15 points. You know, maybe you get double-digit kills. That's what we've seen so far. 25-point swing here for any one of those teams to try to vault their way to take the win in our Ladder 1 finals.
And going into that last game, I mentioned it felt very much like a situation of the haves and the have-nots. Multiple teams in the 50s, everybody else down in the 20s. And now, not quite so much the case. 10, 15 points, not even separating 1 through 4. So I think, Degon, that point absolutely holds true. Any one of those top 4 teams, I think, conceivably, with a good performance here, can take the whole thing. They put in the work throughout. The rest of the teams, you're fighting for, positioning. But those 4, Degon, that's really where we're looking.
Yeah, and, it just feels like a dang shame for, like, Passion Fruit, right? Because I think they are the kill leaders, and they are currently in like 6th or 7th because they just have not been able to get their placements in order. Specifically, that last game torpedoed them so hard after they won a fight. They had control of the eastern bridge from north to south, and instead they went really aggressive. They tried to third party, but didn't realize how big of a party it was with not walls all the way on the top there, and just kind of like just shooting down. It was kind of unfortunate for them, and they're going to be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and again, unfortunate times there for them, but still a lot of teams in contention, and we still have more action to go. Our 5th and final game, the decider, is just about ready to rock, which means we need to head to a short break. When we come back, the last match. Let's crown ourselves the champion. We'll see you in a few.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open PUBG Mobile Ladder 1 Spring North American Finals game number 5. Degon here and Cammy D, as well as his clowncore music. This is going to be a great finals because we've got 4 teams in major contention here, Cammy.
Listen, get those blast beats and the porta potties ready, because this is going to be an amazing final map. Everyone is looking for Moonlight and version 2, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other teams in contention. Colt 2 definitely has a position, and there are a few just below them. They have amazing games, but also if Moonlight and Vanguard give them the opportunity, if they have bad games, give that space available, then we could see an upset here. But a plane path like this,
Yep.
it's pretty bad. It's pretty not great. We have 11 teams. Tell us why, Degon.
You beat me to the punch. I was like, a good way to have a bad game is a bad plane path, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
11 teams here because Passion Fruit was unable to hop into the lobby after the last game. So we're going to go here with 44 players in the lobby instead of 48. And to be honest, guess a couple people died to zone, and that's just like what Passion Fruit would have done. Picked up a couple kills, but died pretty early on as they have the whole tournament. That's okay. Passion Fruit, again, they're fraggers. They know what they're capable of, but not their day today. But we're keeping an eye on the contenders. And again, even a big day here, if you're not one of those top 5 teams, top 4 teams, you're going to need probably like 15 to 20 kills. You're going to have to kill half the lobby. So, and if that happens, it's going to be very easy for us to figure out who's doing that.
That's a brutal part of the number of players that's still in the game right now, is that it's fewer potential kills, fewer potential points. You don't scale the amount of points per kill based on the percentage of population in the lobby, right? That would be insane. That would be crazy. So which means that these teams that are trying to chase Moonlight and version 2, they have to go that much harder, that much faster. They really have to be looking for these engagements, for these fights. Circle 1, it's not bad at all. There's a number of potential pockets of fields that we could end in again, but at the moment, there's none of them that is screaming out, hey, look at me, this is where the game is going to be ending at. And so off of the plane path that we saw, I think this is a pretty standard early game.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like anyone is near each other right now. The only thing I can think of here is version 2 holding Tierra Blanca in the northwest there. And you can see F2K, just like on your screen there, F2K getting kind of blocked out as they loot up Campo Militar. It doesn't look like anyone's going to hold these pinch points as well to the south. So Cool 2 BGBG will have an easy entry on in west of Los Leones, south of Picado, currently where VG are hanging. And so I know we've been watching the chat, and so I just want to make sure that the fans of VG and the fans of version 2 are supporting their team. But if your team is still in contention, your team's still here, hasn't dropped out like Passion Fruit, let us know in the chat who you are voting for right now. Who's trying to take home this final chicken dinner and be crowned the first winner of the ESL Mobile Open Spring 2021 Finals of North American PUBG Mobile Ladder number 1. As we follow along with one of the teams looking to do it, Moonlight CN. They've been quite the boon so far to the lobby and done a pretty good job on their rotations, not getting picked off, and that's been a key to their success.
Yeah, hopefully they can find, at least for them, hopefully they can find a similar sort of path there. And again, with 11 teams, it's going to be much easier for them to avoid potential conflict and just wait for the late game, which is when they really try and take over. Labandito right now, rotating under the crash plane, get some loot here, find a truck as well, getting themselves all of the resources, all of the pieces of utility, ammo, fully stacked armor for the final Juggernaut raid boss finish that they like.
And so, as expected, in the very first map of Miramar, just like the very first map of Miramar, going to be a little bit slower. Teams, lot of space on this map, is the largest map of the game in the competitive rotation. A lot of vehicles, a lot of looting until we really get circled up. Probably what, by like zone 2, zone 3, Cammy?
Probably around there. Especially now that Passion Fruit aren't in the server anymore. Usually we had them to distract us for the slow early game because they're always looking for a fight. It's almost like they became a part of the game itself. It's like suddenly it's not just PvP, we have PvPvE environment features. It's not Godzilla, it's not King Kong, unfortunately, but Passion Fruit, they're trying to do their best. Never win in a game, but always remove a team at the very start.
Yeah, no team's kind of running into each other except when the teams run into teammates right now. Just taking a peek here as we follow along with Third Eye, who, with that win, put themselves in striking distance. So the 4 teams that we're keeping an eye on are Moonlight CN, version 2, Third Eye, and Cool2 BGBG. I think the team after that is Sleeping Forest, but they would need to wipe most of the lobby and get a chicken dinner and make sure that the first couple teams they knock out were those top 2 teams in the way. So everyone else playing for that placement and trying to climb up the ladder. Follow along with Quan Yu and the rest of AST. Haven't had to sing their praises as much quite yet.
Yeah, actually, most of the fights that we see them in is when they're just finally getting picked off. So hopefully on this final game they can at least have some sort of glory moments for them. A long rotation coming in from Valdemar, but it should be a pretty open western side of the circle. Culture BGBG, on the flip side of things, have been in a lot of fights, a lot of them positive, not all. The bit scrappy. They tend to lose a player here or there, but that's just the name of the game. They're trying to go and get all of these kill points for themselves.
Oh, Yadiel, he's doing the climb, and they like this little dip here, and maybe see VG there in the distance. I think that's why I did a quick turnaround and reset here, as I think it does buy us a little bit of time here. Sleeping Forest just hanging out. Alan, he's feeling good. He had his superstar moment in the final circle over on Sanhok where he almost got the victory for his squad there. That was, again, just a heck of a play there by the Sleeping Forest player with only, again, that game only with 3 members to start.
Ji-Woon with an M4 on lock. Has a nice scope as well. So yeah, it does seem that Vanguard and Cold2 spotted each other on the rotate. These are some nice positions overlooking this big giant crater. Is it a crater? Is it a field? It's kind of both and neither at the same time, just outside of Los Leones, if I'm not mistaken. They're not taking shots at each other just yet. There's no real way for them to confirm any of the knocks that they were to get. Instead, they're just waiting to see where the next circle goes. Ooh, vehicle is moving. Could have been an opportunity for a shot, but Ji-Woon, I think, is going to take it. You got to try it once, right? You got to try once or twice. Hard shot to hit, but what's that saying? You miss all the shots that you don't take?
By Wayne Gretzky, by Michael Scott? Yes. That was...
Yes.
It's pretty accurate. As Ji-Woon not quite able to land it up. Not walls now. Heading on over here, right outside of La Bendita. Now the teams seem to be centering up. Like, I don't know what just happened, and we can't show the map quite yet, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that were just like, yeah, we're going to La Bendita right now. Like, the circle hasn't shown anything yet, but this is where we're going to be at. And it's kind of close. Let's see. What are we doing? Where are we going, Cammy?
If it swings down the south, never mind, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's going to swing over towards the north. Basically, Minas Generalis and La Bendita are the 2 places sort of at the close to dead center that have high ground as well. And La Bendita is much easier to control than Minas Generalis, which is why I think everyone was conglomerated around that position. But note, there's going to be a shift over towards the north. Everyone's going to have to move. We might see a little bit of a race for Minas Generalis, but you could stick a number of teams all in there hiding out. There's the high ground overlooking it as well. But then Junkyard could be a solid position. Third Eye should be fine. Sleeping Forest, they're a little bit on low ground. I'd like to see them move up the hill a little bit, but then they'd just be contesting for Minas Generalis. So if they stick around, I don't think that's the worst decision for them.
Yeah, and it was kind of a clump there to the north with F2K Gaming and version 2 kind of going tit for tat there. We're following along with Ander now, and those 2 teams getting pretty close to each other, even though they don't like each other. M11 was pretty close to the rest of the squad there on F2K, and I think they're going to park it up. There's all that space that they could decide to go to, but instead they're going to just be noisy neighbors to each other, as the other team's still rotating themselves around, and some of them going near Impala, and will just kind of hover around, as you said, Minas Generales.
To here, but they have neighbors. Who's that right next door to them? They put themselves right into F2K's territory. A little bit of a 2-2 split for the boys in pink. Panteros here peeking over, trying to find an angle. I don't know if version 2 know that they have company. And so, if Panteros or anyone else from F2K find an opportunity, that's the opportunity and it's missed. So now version 2 have a chance to answer back.
Yeah, Panteros had the shot there, and even a little jump up by one of the version 2 members, but Panteros hitting a little bit of the ground there, and it seems to be the kind of day that they've been having as in the kill feed. Looks like Moonlight getting aggressive and able to knock somebody as they knock one member from Just for Fun. Now we got our side-by-side cam. You can see what Anders trying to do. Answer back here as, remember, version 2 in the running here. This is great if they get the points. This is catastrophic if they drop members. And I don't know if Ander knows that the team has rotated hard away from him.
Smoke comes out for an easy retreat. But I think, yeah, they've been spotted. The push has been called out by the rest of version 2. Door opens for the grenade to go down the hallway. But I think F2K are going to be focusing on outside control. Grenade can come in from the upper window. Hard angle to hit. But they're going to be clearing this building out without realizing that version 2 have no position inside this building. So really they're just wasting resources. Version 2 letting that happen, allowing them to push in. But no, it's finally a contest over a warehouse, over a barn. An immediate knock, immediate confirmed kill. F2K lose 1.
That's what they need. That's what version 2 needs. They need more plays like that. But meanwhile, again, kill feed showing up. AST getting a little aggressive over Jiwoon. We got to see earlier Jiwoon lining up shots for Vanguard Gaming, and I think Vanguard Gaming going to lose 2 here. AST just picking up some kills. We follow back along with this fight here as Bilo
the
trying
angle!
to find the shots. Oh, no. Again, just shooting like just a piece of the environment. And version 2 now fluffing their lines. Nope, there it is. The kill is picked on up. And version 2 getting the points that they need. They double peek. Oh, that's a lot of damage that went into the version 2 members. So a bit dangerous there. But it looks like Nahum Nahum is not quite able to do anything. And now Nahum forced to run away. Kira still pushing, still peeking. He's still alive, crouches for a little bit longer, and that's a wipe. Finally, the pesky squad of F2K Gaming goes down, but now all the loot becomes version 2's, and it's a dream start for this squad trying to get their win here in the ladder 1.
And the circle shifts towards the west, which means that, yeah, they're not in the center, but they still are in a solid position. They don't have to move. They can loot up, they can heal back up, and they can ready themselves. The problem is, Third Eye, they're just to the east of them. A number of teams could be pushing it onto this position, so they need to be ready to potentially fight. Hopefully for them, teams are going to try and move past them and fight over the center, but there aren't a lot of good positions in the center that's not already held by Sleeping Forest.
Oh, man. That's not a fun shift.
Yeah.
A lot of teams, I think there were 4 teams over at Minas Generales. Like you said, there's enough space for everyone to hang out, but only one member was knocked in that process down there in the south. That was one member for Just for Fun. So again, keeping an eye on the kill feed and the points total for Coltu, BG, Moonlight, and we just saw 4 points heading on over to the side of version 2. It's going to be a close race here, so every kill matters, including the kills that go to teams that aren't in contention, like AST taking down 2 members earlier of Vanguard Gaming. And unfortunately, Vanguard Gaming now down to a couple. Here's Third Eye, who is still in the hunt as well. They are encroaching onto version 2, so this is going to be, if it ends up being a fight, this is going to be a massive tide turner in terms of the rankings as we close things out here.
I like how Third Eye, they're not going super aggressive onto this, though, because they know that the circle is still closing in. They're backfilling on the position that F2K just held. but they don't know if any other team is going to try and rotate towards their position. So you can see they're watching their back. They're making sure that no one is closing in behind them. And then once the circle is fully closed, and it's not going to be too much longer for that to happen, they can focus their sights purely on version 2. But over here, Nameless, a little bit of a fight between them and T2K.
Yeah,
Nameless definitely in the best position right now. Or no, actually the bad position outside.
Yeah. Oh! And here we go. Nameless forced to run on in. T2K had one of the members dropped. It was Russell. Russell dropped. Now Bichon getting shot from distance, and now Nameless pulling the trigger and finding 2 knocks so far. Now from distance, Nerd trying to land those shots. We got to see a lot of Nerd earlier in that last map. Can he do it again? Able to get another knock there. So yes, they have 2 members down, but they're inside the zone, and Nameless kind of out of sorts right now.
A little bit of rotation into the blue. You can see on the mini-map a player from Nameless trying to retreat, but everyone else is stuck here in this engagement. DXI pushing in, having an angle into Master OP. And the revive, I think, has come through onto Xeno, so he should be able to heal up with another grenade. If that goes far enough. Bit of a long throw, and yeah, that's not going to really do any damage. So everyone else from Nameless is going to hop into a vehicle and try and get out of here.
Yeah, I like this play by Nameless. They got aggressive, but deciding better. They got their 2 kills, and if they can get away safely, that'll bode well for them. In the meantime, Cool2 BGBG was able to pick up a kill onto one of the members of Just for Fun. So Cool2 BGBG now finding some points and spreading out here around the Hacienda area. We're centering up on like the 4-way crossroads. It's like there's not anywhere that anyone can go. You do have edges, but as soon as this next circle pops, you can see exactly what Rulo's looking at. Lots of fields around here, which is not what these players want for an edge.
Yeah, I said that there were a couple of pockets in phase 1, and we might be going directly towards one of them. Master OP, grenades come out. T2K are still on the chase. They're finding a little bit of damage, but they're not finding really the kills that they're looking for.
Yeah, again, for one of these teams outside the top 4, you need like half the lobby wipe here, so time to get aggressive if you are one of those teams. And right now, Master OP getting shot from distance, both Cool2 and version 2, taking some pot shots at him, but nothing doing here is Rulo. He got damaged earlier and doesn't want to use that first aid kit, so bandages it is. They work just as well.
Yeah, when you only have one first aid kit, you want to save it for when time really is of the essence. Right now, Cool2 have a little bit more time to play with, so it's perfectly reasonable to use bandages at this time. It's a nice 2-2 position for Cool2. 2 kills for them, but they're in a position that they could potentially get into a really big fight. But V2, they already have 5, and they want to go for more. Nerd is stuck hiding behind his car, or his truck rather. It's going to be difficult for him to get out of this. V2 have just been laying waste to the wastelands around them.
And keeping track of it, V2 5 kills, so 5 points to their name. Only 1 right now for Moonlight CN, who is in first place. The other team to keep an eye on, Third Eye, 0 kills so far. So the teams that need to get it done right now, it's only version 2 finding ways, and Nerd's gonna do it. The long sprint, the long lonely sprint. Will they be able to get the points? Who's getting the points? Who got it? Yep, version 2 was able to pick it up.
That's a 6th kill for them. Moonlight, if they've been tracking the kill board like they should have been, they gotta start sweating a little bit. They had a nice 7-point lead. That lead has now all been dropped. Luckily, though, the shift pulls away from version 2, and it's all on to the lone compound held by Sleeping Forest. Big field around them. Sleeping Forest need to be ready to fight for this position, though, because they're going to have a couple of challengers.
8 teams, 28 alive. That means a lot of these teams have still 4 and 3 members up. So a lot of the stragglers have been taken down. Now, was it AST starting to get a little aggressive now. Cool 2 BGBG getting aggressive on the version 2, and they're sending it right away. You see Yadiel now getting on in there, seeing who they're going to be able to finish on off. This could be the end of the hopes for version 2 in Cool 2 BGBG. They've got one member to finish off there in Ander. Nope, Kira is still alive. Ander's burning. He's on fire, but not the good kind. And that's version 2 out in 7th place. Cool 2 BGBG pick up 5 kills in the process.
I blinked and I missed it. That entire fight lasted maybe 10 seconds. Cold 2 got a knock and they just sent it in and they cleaned it out without us. They didn't drop a bead of sweat. And when I was saying Moonlight need to start being worried, now all they need to do is focus on positioning, focus on placement points, and we know how successful they've been at this event so far. If they just stay alive for a couple more placement points, they should be in the clear to take this game because we're already down to 6 teams alive.
Oh no, and Cool 2 now, they're picking up all the leftovers here of Third Eye. That's the other team that we had to watch out for. 2 more kills into the coppers for Cool 2 BGBG, and just hold that thought, Cammy. Maybe, just maybe, with 19 still alive, that means 15 other points to collect here for Cool 2. They might be able to find something. They send it on in, and Debilly, the last one alive here for Third Eye, is getting encroached upon. I don't know if he knows that Not Walls is right next to him. Jeraboy's there. They're walking right next to each other. They're holding hands. They're saying, what'd you have for lunch? Never mind, give me your lunch money. And Not Walls picks that one up. 8 kills for Cool 2 BGBG.
They have their foot on the gas pedal, but they need to keep pushing it. Jeraboy goes down to Killer,
Oh, no.
and that's Not Walls. Also gets knocked by Killer, who's been laying waste to this whole area. They fought for a position, but it's still not that strong of one. But looking over here, Moonlight, they're in a bit of a pickle of their own. Stared down by AST, and I think SF have a line of sight onto them as well.
Yeah, so Sleeping Forest, center of the circle right now. They've got prime position. They can decide who they want to pick off. And as well as Chief right here, who also has an angle, they're getting picked by 90 degrees. You've got SF on one flank, and you've got AST on the other. Let's see what AST decide on doing. Do they hold or do they rotate around? Because the circle is outside for everyone except for Sleeping Forest.
I think the problem is, no matter where you move, Sleeping Forest is going to have a line of sight on you. So really for AST, for Moonlight, for all these squads surrounding this big, giant compound, just go for the fight that you can right now, clear your side, and then just focus in. And if everyone attacks Sleeping Forest at once, maybe something can happen of it. But no, the line of sight from Allen here is already dealing heavy damage to Cold 2. They got the revive, but I don't know how much further they're going to be able to push this.
That's 2 down right now for Moonlight. No one killed off yet, but 2 knocked for Moonlight as SF is just lighting them up. And slowly but surely, AST is now making their move inside the compound, and they have gotten on in while SF has been focused on Cool 2 BGBG and Moonlight. Yadiel now on the run. He's keeping an eye on the SF guys. They've been all smoked up, and they found a little bit of area, not quite inside yet, but still working their way on in. SF still kingmakers. They're deciding who will live and who will die, and that's VG going out in 5th place. So another placement point there by Moonlight. They are getting saved right now. That Sleeping Forest has not brung down the hammer yet on them.
This is a really good grab by Cold 2. The push from AST pulled all of the attention of Sleeping Forest towards the south, because Cold 2 can now push in on the northern side. You can see the arrows on the minimap looking back over towards the north, and AST have to worry about Moonlight, who are still alive. They're hanging on by a single thread. The play zone knocks Jones, but here on the north, Cold 2, they've gotten closer to the building. If they have more smokes, they can potentially access actual hard cover, an actual building itself.
It's possible, Cammy, as Yadiel then resets, gonna break that door on there. Oh, and that's Flies. That gets taken down by Chief, or no, by Jay. And so Jay helping out the cause here. Not a lot of members left alive here for Moonlight. Only one. Nope, that's it. Moonlight is out in 4th place, so Cold 2 BGBG. This is the team that needed double digits and a chicken dinner and to be ahead of Moonlight. Able to do that. What a peek there by Yadiel. And so
Rulo's here.
somehow got inside.
Immediately following up. Shot, chaser, immediate knocked, and the team is there to take the position, and they're inside the circle that they had no right of accessing as long as Sleeping Forest held their angles. But the problem is there were too many angles to try and control at the same time, and now you can see Sleeping Forest have been getting picked apart little by little. They still have 3 up, but now there's a gap in their defenses. There's a hole in their hold. The shift goes towards AST's way, which means Colt are going to have to continue to push this aggressive pressure onto Sleeping Forest.
3v3v3, Colt2, BGBG, AST, and Sleeping Forest. Sleeping Forest again. They were the 5th place team, but way outside and not going to be doing damage for first place with only 2 kills. AST, pretty solid performance. We've been waiting for them to turn online with Chief, Quan Yu, and Jay still left up. 7 kills to their name, but it's Colt2, BGBG with championship aspirations here in our spring finals for ladder number 1.
They're getting themselves ready. Grenades come through, but they're not finding their knocks. A little bit of damage, a little bit of a spot. Kuhn runs upstairs. If they just have more grenades, but they've been using so many of them, I don't even know if it's possible. Like, they could have literally come through every single building, got every single grenade, and they could be out at this point. They've used that many.
Yep, Dios working his way on in. Oh, I think he saw a little bit of Colt2 there. It's, again, the circle is with AST. Oh, and there's the shot to Yadiel. Sneaky Snake able to slither his way out of that one. Not sure how he did. And that's a pretty good start here. But no, there's the nade. It finishes off Yadiel. He gets taken down. So Walls and Rulo, the last ones left up, as one of the SF members gets taken down as well. So it's 3v2v2 now. AST in the driver's seat.
9 kills. Can they hit that 10 at the very least? They're going to have to be doing the math. I can't keep up with it. They're going to try and get every last kill remaining, but now they're down to 2. And multiple angles of enemies onto the position. Flash comes out. And but it clears in time for him to get the shots.
Oh, he does the drop shot, still alive. Zone moving on in. Dios has no one to pray to, and there's the clear. Colt2, BGBG survive. Rulo is knocked. AST need to push the button right now. They need to go, and it's going to take a heroic effort here by Not Walls if he wants any way to stay alive here. I think you got to leave Rulo, but it's 1v3 right now for Not Walls.
If he goes and gets the revive, he can land it. The problem is the smoke. You never know if AST's pushing on his location. We know that that's not happening. Grenades aren't flying through. I don't actually hate this Hail Mary play. It's a bit of a coin flip because look at the push from AST. But now that there's 2 alive, it gives you so many more opportunities. You have information, you have vision, and of course, double the firepower.
Yep, Not Walls is going to peek around the left side. He's cleared the right side, so he knows not anyone's there. But now Jay has worked his way on into the smoke. Love this for AST. Cool2, BGBG. Championship aspirations on the line. Need to figure it out. Somehow Rulo got the revive. I can't believe
Smoke
it.
is fading.
Another smoke just popped. New smoke, and like, it's coming from Jay. Jay is right there. Chief in the background trying to shoot, and way further back outside of that is Quan Yu. I wonder if Quan Yu is just healing on up. He's slowly crawling on in. Not sure yet. But Jay in the smoke. Oh, his position's been given away. Can he land the shots? He's hiding around the hay barrels. Rulo trying to get it. Not quite able to. Jay still alive. Rulo's still alive. Everyone's missing. There's smoke everywhere. The jump shot not going to land. And wow, Walls able to pick up the kill. Now the nades come raining on in. There's one and Rulo goes down. It's a 1v2 right now as Walls has to reload his weapon. Quan Yu pushing, nade knocking him to the side. Lots of bullets raining on into the fence. He tries to get the headshot.
He gets one.
There's one boy left. Can Walls do it? He's low. Walls is able to get it. Oh, and Jay was revived in the process. I didn't see it. Now Jay looking to push. He has a bean on him, but then you got the 2 members. He's got to go over the wall because the blue's coming on in. At some point, he sees where he's at, trying to use the fence a little bit longer. There's not a lot of space left. The zone is really pushing his backpack right now. Walls,
oh my God!
The shot, and Colt2 BG, they complete the comeback. They get the chicken dinner. What a finish here by Colt2 BGBG. What a play by Not Walls. That was crazy, Cammy.
14 kills to finish that off. My math, I'm not going to try and work it out. We're going to have to wait and see what it looks like. But this was the game that we needed from Cole 2.
What was that finish, though?
I don't know, dude.
Oh,
I don't know.
My goodness. Okay. So, like, they're in the top 3 situation. And, you know, it was really hard for me not to just forget I wasn't casting and just turn on the mic and just scream in there at the end because of the hype of that. Because, honestly, like, so Colts, who had a very clear set thing they needed. They were down by 9 points coming into this game. They were down by 9 points. So that there's a series of things that had to happen. Getting in a top 3, finishing above Moonlight was obviously the big one. Getting a certain amount of kills was the other one. A chicken dinner is basically a guaranteed win at this point. And then there was a point where I'm like, I think maybe they've done enough. They made the top 3. Oh, maybe they've really done enough. They clutched that 2v2. And then Walls. I mean, we have seen very few players in the history of the Mobile Open go as single-handedly clutch as that, winning multiple 1vx's over the course of a game. The composure, and you could see it there when he's coming down to the end. He won the 1v2 and a 1v1, and there was the moment he looked to the left and the right. He's like, do I try and run around this wall? Because there's an animation as you jump over it. And he wasn't punished for that vault. And the second he wasn't punished, I knew that was going to be it in the bag. Let's take a look back at the highlights though from this game, guys. Sorry, that was a rant there at the end, but that finish was so damn good.
There was a lot leading up to it.
It started with version 2, right? Like version 2, I thought that was going to be the team because they racked up like, what, 6-8 kills early on.
Yeah, it was a really good start for them, but then it was actually Cole 2 that immediately just removed them from consideration. A lot of fights elsewhere as well in the blue. Difficult circle to even approach at the end because of Sleeping Forest's just strong position. But here's Cole 2. Here's the start of their engagement. They find the lineup and they just send it in from there. The no hesitation over multiple pushes by their teammates this game. It just shows how dedicated, how focused, and ready for the win these guys were playing.
Yeah, and the proactive play allowed them to find teams like Third Eye, like version 2 themselves, that were still recovering from an earlier fight and pick up those points. And this is where I thought it was going wrong for Cole 2 BGBG. I was like, oh, okay, this is the classic. They pushed one too many times. They're in trouble, but they threw a ton of smokes down. They gathered their composure. They're able to loot up all of Third Eye and have more utility, have more heals, and hang out for a little bit longer. But also, shout out to AST for a fantastic game as well, getting to that point and putting pressure onto the lobby leaders here.
This was absolutely insane. As Paul mentioned, Wall able to make it over that vault. Z was just waiting, lying in wait, like he did even previously. Remember, he made it up to the hay bales under the cover of smoke. He was supposed to be the win condition for AST, but he was discovered early. The blue was gonna potentially push Cole 2 past him, but he was spotted, got taken out, he got revived. But these series of 1v1s that Walls was able to win gives them the chicken dinner.
That was a 1v3 there at the end. I mean, it was a 1v2 and then a 1v1, but let's be real. Oh my goodness. And just the way he was able to just like jiggle peek over the wall, just like, oh, the ups and the downs and talk about my heart and the emotions. I was losing it at the end there because, I do have the words now. With the leaderboard is ready, the final results, the tally. I think I know who our Mobile Open champions are. And I was wrong. Moonlight did enough.
They had the lead.
Moonlight CN, with the work they put in all day long, despite a colossal finish from Cole 2 BGBG, did enough to become your Mobile Open champions here for Ladder 1 for PUBG Mobile by 4 points. How many kills did they get before they went out? They finished in like 4th place.
Not many. They got maybe 5 kills, I think.
They were pretty inactive this game specifically, but they had been, I think, the game's most consistent performer Like they
Yep.
were the ones that constantly were placing top 5. They were constantly putting themselves in position to get points, and it pays off in the end. Yes, a heroic shove at the end there by Colt2BGBG, but Moonlight CN again getting it done on the back of Faker. Flies as well, picking up points. We called out Kindness and Jonas multiple times, but Moonlight CN, your ladder 1 champions.
Listen, it's all off of their great, just delayed aggressive play. They don't go for fights early. They don't go for fights mid. They wait for the end game and then they try and take it over. It's not a new strategy in a battle royale, but they're just showing why it's an evergreen strategy.
Wow, absolutely, just incredible finish at the end there. I am in shock because we were so focused up on the epic series of clutches there at the end, but Moonlight did enough over the course of the games, and Colt2BG just did this miracle run at the end. Those last 2 games were really where they stepped up, but having a weaker performance to start things off just goes to show, and they were the team that came in as the number 1 seed. They had a lot of eyes on them, but Moonlight CN able to do enough. I'm floored. I'm just floored. I'm floored.
Yeah,
crazy.
And I love this because, again, a lot of these players on Moonlight have participated in Mobile Open before, but this is most of their first finals, and they find themselves on top after a consistent day of PUBG Mobile. Remember, Colt2BGBG, they had one map. It was one map where they flubbed it pretty hard. They shoved it on in, and we're like, hey, what are you doing? Like, that's when Paul called for, like, hey, probably slow it down just a little bit. The Colt2 turned it on.
No, I was wrong. I was wrong. They got a knock. They pushed. They killed. They did it all right. And I think part of the reason, so I was looking at the leaderboard, and yes, Moonlight was ahead by 9 points over the next person, but Colt2BGBG was down by 23 points going into that game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they were the 4th place team.
They were.
That's why I called them out. They were like kind of close, right?
Yeah, they were
Third Eye
close.
that was in 3rd place.
Yes, and oh man, either way, what a finale, what a finish. Moonlight had to have been just shaking in their boots watching the end of it. And actually, words that I have Jonas on the line from our winners here to get some thoughts on this last game, the whole tournament as a whole. Jonas, congratulations, first and foremost. You're our Mobile Open champions. How does it feel knowing you've walked away with the win? And he DC'd. Perfect timing. He's just, the nerves got to him. Heart pounded too fast. That's how it was. We're going to try and get it back on the line for all of you folks at home to try and hear some thoughts from the team. Because it really just goes to show that a couple outright performances in Cam, this is something we've talked about a lot over the course of PUBG Mobile history. A couple standout games aren't enough. You have to be consistent from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, and while Colt2 were really consistently amazing in their ladder climb, they were, second the first week and then first every other week after. They had a nice multi-100-point lead coming into this event, so naturally eyes were heavily on them to be a big force, and they definitely were. But in a series of 5 games, you can't have a single bad game. They followed it up with some amazing performances, but those 4 points, just 4 points behind first.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the fact that they came together as a squad. You could see when they wanted to push. Remember the one map over on Erangel in game number 4 where Faker was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to kill this final member and drive all the way over. And the rest of his teammates were like, hey, come back. Like, we have the zone. We don't need that kill. We need to stay together as 4. Let's do that.
Yes. And I'm getting word that Jonas is here standing by. Jonas, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. First and foremost, congratulations. You are our Mobile Open champions. Talk to me about what was happening on team comms watching that final circle situation as Colt2BGBG was getting kill after kill after kill, and you're sitting there going, oh no, can they pass us? What were your communications like?
Our communication last game, because we know V2 is a few points behind us, so we're only focusing on V2. I know Colt2BGBG is probably 3rd or 4th, and we're not focusing too much on their if they're fragging now or something. We're just focusing on our own gameplay.
For sure. Digon, what do you got?
Yeah, I kind of want to know, like, what's the makeup of the team? Because it feels like you've got fraggers on your team and Faker goes off, does his thing, but who's shot calling for you, and how did you guys come together as a team?
Yeah, I'm the IGL, and Faker is always the one that goes in and be the entry fragger. He's a very good entry fragger. And we got Fly and Kindness. Kindness is a fragger too. He always goes in second and then just cleans up the battlefield. And Fly is a very good sniper. He's very good long range shots. Yeah, and we're pretty hold up. Sorry.
No worries. No worries. You're a pretty you're a pretty dang good squad. That's what it is. I'm pretty proud of my team. Like except for me, all of my teammates they're like new players. They're like they're not like very experienced before. So to see we're making the progress as a team together, I'm pretty proud of my team.
That's really cool to hear, and it's actually cool to hear that you're also the IGL, because this is the question for you. We can make all these observations on this side of the camera, on this side of the broadcast that we want. From our perspective, it looks like game after game, your strategy is always to play it slow and wait for the end game to really take over. Is that an accurate observation? What's your general game plan going in game after game?
On Erangel, we land the military base, so our so we play the pace we play is very slow. But in Miramar, we land at the center zone, so we're always trying to get the center zone, for each circle shift. On Sanhok, we play different, on different situations on different maps.
Yeah.
So, but the comms, the communication is everything. Is the key thing to always make the right decision to scout, and then
All about trying to put the pieces together every single map. Some slightly different strategies, but the end result's the same. Keep all 4 players alive, make it to the final circles, and let your fraggers do their thing. That's what it seemed to be from when I was looking at it there, and clearly it paid off for you guys. Congratulations on the win there at the end. You did enough. 5 solid games, 5 consistent performances. Do you have any final shout-outs before we let you go?
Final shout-out. Shout out to my team, all 4 of the players, and then shout out to our manager, Mil, from Moonlight. She's a really good manager. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Go celebrate with your team. You're our Ladder 1 champions here for the ESL Mobile Open. Oh, what a day. What a day. I got a little ahead of myself there. The admins calmed me down. I got caught up in the heat of the moment at the end. But,
Caster math. Come on, Paul.
Caster math. Look. It was mostly just being unable to read. That was actually the bigger issue there. The math was sound. My reading was less. So, but look, these are not critical skills. Guys, we just talk about video games, and they were stellar today. For all those who hung out from Asphalt 9 Legends all the way here to the end, 5 amazing games of PUBG Mobile. Huge. Before we sign off and say goodbye, though, final thoughts? Cam, we'll start with you.
Yeah, you heard it from the boy Jonesy himself. These were, for the most part, all new players, and they can't come in and win Ladder 1. So to see that bit of, I don't want to call it a Cinderella story necessarily, but it's kind of a Cinderella story. I mean, you say it yourself all the time, Paul. This is what the Mobile Open is all about. We have Ladder 2 that's working on. I'm now even more excited what that's going to look like at the end of that series.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's like every time we get to do this and have a Mobile Open to tell the stories of these players, learn more about them, learn their characteristics as players, and then hopefully over the next couple of years, see them grow and go on to better things. It's always going to be fun. So congrats to Moonlight CN. Congrats to this version of Cool2 BG that will always have that final fantastic finish on Miramar to call back to. And everyone that got to participate and make it to the finals out of the hundreds of entrants in the Mobile Open. Always things to build upon, so it's always a lot of fun, and I can't wait for the next one.
Put that on your highlight reel. Yes, indeed. And I'll follow up on that point from both of you. This is really what it's all about. If you want to get your start, if you want a low stress environment where you can just get together with your friends, form a team, practice against some squads, get some good experience, learn what it's like to play in comp lobbies, this is the place to do it. Exclamation point sign up will give you the information about that. The second ladder is live now. We're only a week in. So it's still plenty of opportunity, plenty of time for teams to join now. Still a very good chance that you can make it all the way to the end, making it into the next top 16 to be casted on this broadcast once again. So definitely go check that out. Exclamation point, sign up in the chat. And of course, if you're not following us over on social media, please do so. That way you stay up to date with all the cool stuff we're doing here, whether you're a fan of PUBG Mobile or any of our other titles for the ESL Mobile Open and heading into the ESL Mobile Challenge as well. I definitely recommend checking that out over there. And with that, that's it. That's the end from all of us here. Thank you so much for tuning in. For myself and Verum, Cammy D, and of course, Degon joining us all once again. It'll be a few weeks, but we'll be back. Everybody, have a great night. We'll see you soon.
As a motivator, let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the fall, I got my fan with me. All we know is ball to empty out the mouth. The chosen one they call, I take my fan with me. Know about it if you tell, know you're breaking codes. Want your credibility and all fall like dominoes. Can you really take a stance? All I wanna know. Need me real ones when it's time to go. Stepping in, elevator. Listen to all the haters. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up. I found out I'm not alone, 'cause I'm just like you. There's no failing when we fight. We're not afraid to. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up. Feel the light, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark. No fear, getting ready for the ride. Yeah, stepping into the light. No limit, aim high. No limit, the prize is mine.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.